All right, chat. I want you to throw in some mad love in the chat for Dixie Dixon. Spam the crap out of the emotes and stuff in the chat. Introducing our guest today, Dixie Dixon. Here on 3, 2, and 1. There we go, chat. Give it up.
Hello. How's it going, everybody? Oh my gosh, I'm like beyond stoked to be here. This is awesome. I've never done a Twitch before.
Woo! Everyone's loving the hat.
Thank you guys. Man, so much love. I love y'all.
All right, so this is your first time doing Twitch?
Yes. I literally just created an account before this.
What about like a live stream? Is this the first time you've ever done a live stream?
I've definitely done a live stream before. I've done quite a few of those, but nothing on Twitch.
Yeah.
So this is a whole new world you're showing me today.
Twitch totally hits different, that's for sure.
It does. It feels very authentic.
I love that. And that's why we got started doing what we do. I mean, to be able to connect with people beyond the cell phone screen, you know? When you arrive on someone's Instagram profile, it's like, this person's really not here. I'm gonna try and slide in their DMs, but I don't know if they're gonna, you know, get to my question or whatever. So we actually get to see you, you know, in person and hear you in your personality.
Yes.
I told chat that they were gonna love you. You're just super sweet and awesome and stuff, so.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be on here. So I'm excited to like dive in and get into this. This is gonna be awesome.
So everyone is claiming that you are now one of us, I guess. So
yes.
So watch out. My dad's in the chat and he says we bow down.
Oh, that's so sweet. Hi, Papa Bear.
What's up, Noor? Good to see you. So let me just tell you, the Light Den Academy, I think I told you when we first chatted, but it literally stands and represents this room that I'm in, but kind of a representation of everyone's offices or a creative space or the place where they've grinded it out, learning photography on their own, editing and shooting and doing those things. So we created this stream as a place to learn from each other, because I don't know everything, you know, and I can only teach from my experience. And so there's been plenty times of people in the chat who have taught me so many things. And so to have people like you come in, and I'm sure you're going to teach us so much. This is Nikon Ambassador Dixie Dixon. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Mikeytendo gifted I Am Dixie Dixon a subscription. Mikeytendo gifted 6 months of tier 1 to I Am Dixie Dixon. They've gifted 29 months in the channel.
I think you cut out, or I can't hear you.
Yeah, you just got a gifted sub to the channel. So one of the viewers found they stalked your Twitch name and gifted you a sub. So
nice.
So funny.
Thank you.
All right, so today, chat, we have a couple things. We are going to be doing our Edit My Photo segment. Dixie and I have shared raw images, and we edited each other's photos. So we're gonna run through that. We're gonna compare our workflows. Dixie's gonna roast me. I told her not to pull any punches today. And then we're gonna do some photo critiques. So she gets to roast all of you guys, and she's not gonna pull any punches, and get you guys some good stuff. And then after that, we'll do a Q&A, and at the very end, we will do a giveaway. Sounds good?
Woohoo!
But before we do, Dixie, I would love for you to just introduce yourself, who you are, I mean, what you're doing here, how long you've been in photography, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Oh gosh, where to start? Man, I'm Dixie Dixon, if you didn't know, and I'm a commercial fashion and
One Austin
advertising
just raided the Light Den
photographer,
Academy with 11.
based out of Texas, actually. So I've been traveling the world, gosh, for the past 10 years, doing all kinds of advertising shoots and fashion shoots. And gosh, I never would have ever believe that I could actually do this for a living. I mean, what a fun job. I mean, it's been such a crazy, crazy fun adventure and a ton of hard work. And I just want to tell you guys, if photography is something that you want to do for a living, you can totally do it. It just takes a lot of grit and just a lot of hard work and just shooting what you love, and you can totally do it. So I'm excited to like dive in today and answer your questions. I'm just like a complete open book. Nothing's off the table. You guys can ask anything you want today. And, you know, it's just been a really incredible journey. I've done directing commercials, TV commercials, big advertising campaigns for companies like Disney and Nikon and Virgin, and gosh, so many fun shoots. So yeah, I don't know what else to say there, but,
That's perfect. That's okay, perfect.
Cool.
And there's so much that can be said. Chat, you guys don't even know. The last couple days, I've been cracked out on Dixon interviews. Like, I had a whole playlist of like 10 plus images of interviews, and I could probably tell you her bio to you guys without her here. Like, I could tell her story to you guys, and I encourage you guys to do so. She has amazing experience with working different companies, and today we have her on. We want to check out her workflow and stuff like that. If you guys do have a question, please fill out the form, !question, and we will be sure to get to it. We're gonna jump into the goods here. We're gonna jump into what you guys all came here for. All right. And Dixie, I think we're gonna start off with your images. I think we'll start off with your images, the ones that I edited, and then we'll jump into the ones that I sent you, and then see how you edited them. And so let me just switch screens here. Mm-hmm. Oh, here, real quick, guys, here's the website. You guys can see all of her work here, her About Me page, blog, contact, all that good stuff, all right? So make sure you check out her website, check out her Instagram, drop her a follow, all that good stuff. All right. So let me scroll through here, and I'm going to select all the RAWs that you sent me.
Okay.
And here they are. So Nikon does this cool thing on Instagram called like Nikon No Filter. And I never really participated with it because I've never been one to like, I don't know, I've just always edited my images, and I've kind of understood the necessity or the good practice of making sure that like your photos in camera look great from the outset, you know? But man, these images, when I received them, I was like, geez, these are really nice. These are really nice. And so when I started editing them yesterday, it felt like I was painting over the Mona Lisa. So
that's so nice.
I really hope that you like my edits, but like I said earlier, please just give me your best feedback, all that good stuff. So we're gonna go picture by picture.
Okay.
And let me know the backstory on them. When did you take it? What did you take it with? All that good stuff.
Absolutely. So the backstory on this one, this was a recent shoot in Key Largo. And I, every time I travel, I always like to do, if I'm doing a paid job, I always kind of try to, set aside an extra day to do a test shoot in the location. So this was one of those scenarios, and I got to work with a really amazing stylist and also like a guest makeup artist. So it was a really fun experience to get together and collaborate. And I don't know about you guys, but always shooting personal work is definitely great for building your portfolio. So always, even when you're shooting paid jobs, always be setting up your own shoots and, just creating new work that you can share out to the world. So I'm always doing that. So this was one of those shoots, and just an amazing model, Taylor Bryant. And she's on Instagram. I think she's got crazy amount of followers. But it was just it was a swimwear shoot. I'm still editing it. This one was shot with the D850.
All right.
A 105 lens. Yeah.
Nice. D850 105 lens, and that's the 105 1.4.
Yes.
So
love that lens.
The Z mount 105 just got announced and is coming out. Do you have it already? Have you shot with it yet?
Not yet.
Oh,
I hope
man.
Soon, no. I hope soon.
So Stu asked in the chat, he said, were you trying to match your style? And I got to let you know that when I was editing, in the beginning, I had that temptation to be like, okay, how does Dixie edit? Like, how should I edit this? And like, whenever I have someone on stream, I always feel like that. But then I'm like, no. The whole purpose of this, to edit in my style, like to edit the way that I do it. So to answer your question, Stu, no, I did not try to match your style. So that being said, I'm going to pull up Dixie's edit, which is right here on the left. Let me try and do it so that you guys can see the difference when I move back and forth between the images, because they're subtle. It's subtle. And there we go.
Your edit's great. It's a solid edit. I love it.
Wow.
I would use it.
I appreciate that. So on your edit, Dixie, what did you do here?
Yeah. Do you want me to walk through my workflow at all?
Yeah.
Or you want me to just dive into the image? We can do that. I just didn't know.
Let's dive in your image, and then afterwards we can check out the workflow.
So basically with this one, I did pretty minor tweaks because she's, she has pretty perfect skin.
Yeah.
So I really just mainly touched up her, skin just a little bit, brightened her eyes, made her hair a little bigger.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas and we like big hair. And then I also did a little bit of color, and it's funny because I edited this late last night, as you know. Yeah. And I feel like it looks a little bit too pink.
Okay.
So I may go back and tweak that a little bit. But other than that, I didn't do too much to it. It's pretty, I like to shoot in camera. One thing about working with Nikon, and for instance, especially Nikon Japan, when you're shooting their campaigns and brochures, is they don't allow any retouching on the images. So you have to pretty much shoot in camera how it's going to end up, like the final shot's going to end up. So it's pretty good training as far as trying to get things pretty solid in camera. So it's definitely nerve-wracking. Nikon USA allows a little bit more retouching, which is nice. So I think everyone, does well with a little retouch.
Yes. So when I saw your edit, I did my best to try and not look at them last night because I wanted to save my reactions for the stream. But yeah, that was the first thing I noticed is the hair was like, it just, boop. It's like, oh, wow. All right. I never thought of that.
That's funny. I do that in Liquify.
Oof. Real quick.
Yeah.
Run us through your workflow, because your normal work images, they're not all edited by you. Yeah, you have a team and...
Correct.
Okay, so run us through that real quick. And also, what software do you use to edit for yourself?
Yeah, so it's interesting. When I've got personal work, a lot of times I will edit that particular work. But so this, I edited myself. I have a pretty good basic knowledge of editing, and I kind of edit it. And my workflow is a little bit, I want to say wonky, because I use a lot of different programs. So I saw you using Capture One, which I love.
Yes.
That's an amazing, I would say that is the best software as far as exporting, because it just reads the raw files, and I feel like it makes all the files look the best. Like when you look at Annie Leibovitz and all these big photographers, they're all using Capture One to tether to and also export out of. So I just find that Capture One is the best as far as exports go. And so I color correct and do all that in Capture One. Then I export a 16-bit TIFF. And then I will usually open in Photoshop and do my adjustments in there. And then I also use this software called Skyloom. You heard of it?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay, it's very inexpensive but it's a cool software for adding like cool skies and lens flares and sun rays. Like you can make sun rays from the sun in that software and also do some cool color adjustments.
Yeah.
So
is that part of Luminar?
It is. Yes.
Oh,
it is
okay.
Luminar. Skyloom is the big company over Luminar. Sorry.
Ooh.
Yeah, Luminar. So
I've yet to try
cool.
that. I've been like born and raised Lightroom. That's it. When I first got into it, it was Adobe Photoshop Elements, and I did this.
Wow.
I used to do these horrible like color gradients with the vignettes. It was bad, and then I went to Lightroom, and Lightroom was great, and the PC that I had could only handle one program at a time, so I just stuck with Lightroom. I didn't really bother to learn much of Photoshop and stuff. And then when I started streaming, it's different. You use a Mac, right? Yes. Okay, so for me, like I built my PC custom to run my photo business, to edit in Lightroom. But when I started streaming, my PC couldn't handle editing and streaming. And so I upgraded it, but Lightroom kept on giving me just like lag and stutter and all that kind of stuff. So I got converted by a couple people in the chat to Capture One. There's a lot of people like, try it. And I tried the 30 days, and I still didn't have the workflow down, especially for weddings, because that's what I mainly do. And I'm like culling through freaking 5,000 images per wedding, yada yada. So I didn't have it down until honestly the last couple months, where I finally have a good workflow. And if you stream and edit, Capture One is the way to go. It is so lag free, even after these new Lightroom updates. So let me step off my soapbox. I'm sorry, I don't mean to preach about how laggy Lightroom is.
That's awesome.
But there you go, chat. Skyloom and then Photoshop retouching. I am very, very noobish, like very beginner at photo retouching and stuff. There was an image that I sent you where I tried my hand at frequency separation and stuff. Yeah, I think I think you did it on her arm on that one image where she's being lifted, just smoothing out the skin and stuff. So,
I actually didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay. No. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Okay. Yeah. One of my retouchers does that kind of retouching. Okay. I'm a little bit raw in the way that
All right. I can't wait to see it. Okay. Yeah. So we'll pull back, and so to this image, here's your edit, and then let me pull up mine. So here's the raw image, chat, and then this is my edit. So, oh shucks, come on. There we go.
There she is.
So my edit's here on the left, and then your raw's on the right. So what I did was every edit that I did, there was a preset that I used from Maston Labs, and I'm really loving this Fuji one that I've got, and it's very subtle. And that's what I love about Capture One, is that you can dial back the opacity on the preset, so it's not like full on in there. So I just dialed it back a bit. It made the skin a little green, so I kind of I used the before and after slider, and then I went in real close. I adjusted the skin tone. So with Capture One, I used a little dropper on the skin. I changed the skin tone, and then on the lip, there's this like little thingy on her lip that I just like adjusted, brushed the eyes in with the iris brush, and then there's also another brush on Capture One that helps reduce like red skin I noticed on her arms there. So I just dialed that back, and then that was it. And I wasn't sure, like, is she gonna care about these little hairs flying? I think she's more of like a natural girl, so I'm just gonna leave it. But that was it. So what did you think?
I think that's a good call. You know, people get really obsessive about the hair, and I actually prefer sometimes to keep the flyaways. Like, this is definitely a swimwear beach shot, so we kind of expected that, you know, her hair's kind of blowing and stuff like that. So Yeah, I mean, I think you did the perfect amount of, skin retouching. She doesn't look like over retouched or anything like that. It looks very natural and clean. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really change anything. I think you did a great retouch. I wish I had more to say. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it looks great.
I think there's like little things, because it was at the beach. Yeah. So there's like little pieces of sand, here and there that you just like, took out and stuff, but that was it. And then, I did crop it in a little bit. So like, just to, I don't know, I feel like to make it a little bit more symmetrical. So I just cropped it in on the side and boom, boom. Yeah. But yeah. So there you go, chat.
Great.
My edit, there's Dixie's, and then here's the raw.
Yeah. And keep in mind, I lit this with just natural light and a reflector. And I think you mentioned...
Called it!
Yes, you called it. You totally called it. Because you could see it in her eye, like the big... So instead of using one of those flimsy round reflectors, we actually use insulation board from the hardware store.
Yeah.
So we use the silver, we'll cut it in half, the big insulation, and it just makes for a good like reflector, and it's cheap.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Some people in the chat were like, I think there was a light above or something like that, and I was just like, I think she's in shade. And then is she in shade too?
She is.
Okay, and then drop that reflector down. Nice.
You got it. The light was really, it had some clouds that day, and so the light was kind of coming through certain areas, and it made for good lighting that day with the reflector.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. One down and lots more to go.
Yes.
All right, so tell us about this shot, this shoot. What's going on?
Yeah. So the zebra shoot, oh gosh, I love animals. I've been doing a lot more shoots with animals lately.
Yeah.
Just because I love that connection between people and the beasts of our planet. It's like such a fun shoot. And so this is actually in Texas. It's at this really cool ranch where the owner actually adopts orphan animals. Yeah, and then he kind of raises them and takes care of them, takes amazing care of them. And so this zebra is named Zach. And it was funny because I didn't, like, he had told me about the zebras, but they were actually a lot smaller than I was.
When I was editing yesterday, someone's like, that zebra's small. Why is that zebra small?
Yes, they're like little tiny zebras. So the model, she's really tall, so she kind of towered over the zebras. Wow. That was kind of funny. That wasn't anticipated, but it was interesting. The models are always, you got to be careful to wear like perfume around animals, and you got to sort of bond with them before the shoot. So before the shoot, I went in and actually got in their cage with them and sort of bonded with them a little bit.
Did you hug them?
Yeah, I tried.
Did you bite their ear? Show them who's boss?
Yes.
Nice.
So they were awesome. Very, cool around people. Most zebras are not. That's a very rare, I think, thing. I think the owner has definitely, how he works with them. He's like an animal whisperer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then it just was a fun shoot. We ended up, so I love hats, and I found this hat.
That's a big hat.
21. It's a big hat.
Forever 21.
So, yeah, so I grabbed that, and then the wardrobe stylist brought some really cool stuff, to put with it, and we had a bunch of zebra outfits, and we did probably 8 looks, and this was one of my faves.
Wow. So
yeah.
Here's your edit. It looks like honestly looks like you're in Africa or something. Like the way that the sky looked and like the way the highlights were dialed back and everything like that. I don't know. I feel like this was a shoot for Nikon or something like that. But who is this for?
This was personal work.
Oh, nice.
Yes. What's cool is a lot of times when I do shoot personal work, if Nikon has a need for something, an ad or something for Father's Day or something like that, they might end up licensing an image for that. But this is just personal work. So I shoot a ton of it. And that's what I kind of love submitting for these kind of things.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So for those of you guys who don't know, if again, chat, this is Dixie Dixon, and she has a lot of interviews out there in YouTube land. And I've heard over and over and over you talk about your style and how, you know, you're constantly finding your style, and how in order to find that style, you just got to keep shooting.
Absolutely.
When you sent me your images and the images you edited of mine, I could totally see your style just strung through all the images. So it's that warmer tone, huh? It's that warmer tone. I mean, how else would you describe it?
Yeah, I just love that sun-kissed sort of glowy look. I definitely tend to go more that side of the spectrum as opposed to the cooler side. For some reason, I'm just drawn to that. And that's really, you know, when you're finding your style, you really got to find out and figure out what you love personally. And the more that you know yourself, the more your style is just going to evolve and grow. So it's never done. And that's the one thing about photography is your portfolio is never done. It's always an evolving process. And when I think I found my style, and then, you know, I'll see something that inspires me and kind of go a different direction. So it's just it's a constant, it's like always be shooting no matter what it is. Yeah.
Before I bring up my edit, how was this lit? Is this all natural as well?
It is. It is all natural with the reflector, and the sun was coming from the back because you see that nice. I love that style. And you shoot a lot of the backlight. I love backlight. So you get that nice hair light, and then you bump in a reflector. One thing to keep in mind is when you're bumping in a reflector, kind of don't use it opposite the sun, because then it tends to look like it was artificially lit. I like to make it to look more natural.
Okay.
So if you come from the side that the sun is coming on, like it's easier and it looks a little bit more natural. So instead of coming opposite from it, get on the same side as the sun.
So the reflector is like right on the left side of this image here.
Exactly.
Okay, shooting back at her face. Raja. All right, here is the edit that I did. Again, throwing on that preset that I really like, that Fuji. I just blew out the sky. I liked the real kind of like brighter look. I think I've got like PTSD from these interviews, because every time that I would edit other people's photos, there was always a comment about like this skin that I would do and stuff. And it was always like a lot brighter or more like orangey, I guess. So I did my best to like dial back the orange and stuff. There was a couple things that I did on the model and on the zebra, and I masked. No, I didn't mask. I used a brush. I brushed it on the girl's body, and I mean, whether you're by the ocean and it's all blue, or like when I'm shooting a wedding and the groom's got a white shirt on and the sky's super blue, you'll get like this blue light on the shirt. And so I like to take that out and try and make it more white and natural. And so there was like a little bit of green. It could have been for my preset or whatnot, but I just went back with a brush and tried to remove some of that green light that was, I don't know, being reflected from the grass, or like I said, you know, being picked up in the preset. And then I also brushed in the zebra, and the zebra was a bit more yellowish, greenish than how he looks here. So I kind of dialed that back and tried to bring back that white. So those are the two main things that I did. And there's a couple little things that I healed out. But just try to go for that more of that clean look. So here are the images here together. Just so you know, Dixie, so we don't do this to be like, oh, who won this or that, but we like to do that in the chat for the fun of it. So if you see like, oh, Aaron won the first round, but Dixie wins this one, I love it, because you know, that's at the end of the day, there'll be people who do like your stuff and who don't. And I like to hear like why people didn't like it. And I think for this mood, when I saw your image, I was like, okay, yours is sick. I can totally see that working. It looks great. You know, so.
Well, thank you. I think you won the first round. I agree. I think that's awesome. Yeah. So I love the edit you did. It's funny. I feel like the presets that you use look very film-like. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They make them look a little bit more film kind of. It's a little more flat. It's not as like high contrast. And I think it looks cool. It's I like how you made the stripes stand out. I think taking out that yellow. It's funny, I would have not thought to do that. I think it makes the zebra stripe stand out a lot more. So it's pretty beautiful. And what else? I think the skin all looks really good. You know, it's funny when you're shooting fashion photography, you've always got to be really aware of the clothes. And so when I do fashion, actually when I shoot portraits too, I always will elongate their legs a little bit in post-production. So this is going to sound so funny, but I will take the bottom half of the image and free transform and make their legs longer. So it makes it look more high fashion. So I did that on my edit. You can see her legs look super long because it just like gives it a little bit more of a high fashion vibe. And then I also liquefied her pants to make the angles like all perfected and whatnot. Because I think the pants look a little bit billowy on that left leg.
Chat, did you notice the long legs? My mind is being blown right now because as you were saying that, I was like, whoa, like, holy crap. I did not see it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That just blew my mind.
Core XOXO. I don't know you, and you don't know me, but I believe this is the start of something
people
beautiful.
Don't know that I do this to their images, but I will make their legs, I'll make them taller in the image because it just gives it more of a high fashion kind of vibe. And then I also will shape their body a little bit. You know, the camera adds a little weight, so I just take that right off of there. And I mean, obviously she didn't need it. She's obviously, you know, she's tiny. But I just like to kind of make the angles a little bit more exaggerated because it's fashion and
pants are correct. You can see the kind of liquefy leftovers right there. Was that liquefied? Yeah. Wow. Mind blown.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. On to this last image, and then we'll head to the raws that I shot. Chat, just as a reminder, for those of you guys who are just joining us, we have our guest, Dixie Dixon, Nikon Ambassador, fashion photographer, director, all that good stuff. There's her bio. Go to her website. There's her Instagram. Make sure you follow her. If you have a question whatsoever or a comment, type !question and you can type and you can fill it out, and then we'll get to it at the end of stream. All right. So here we go. This is hey, what's up, B-Tree? Good to see you. So this is the last image that Dixie sent me, and Dixie, I gotta say, it was an honor to be able to edit your raws. And can you talk about that? Like, was there a time where you were very what's the word, like protective of your raw files, like you never sent them to anyone? Because when I asked you, you were like, oh yeah, no problem, you know, just here you go.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was first starting, I started out shooting weddings and portraits and kiddos, like anything you could imagine I was shooting, you know, to pay the bills and everything. So I can remember the very first wedding that I shot, I did not let them see any raw files. I edited every single photo that I shot from that wedding. Wow. It took me like a week because I was so like nervous to show them my raw files.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's crazy. You definitely, I think the longer you shoot, the more dialed in you get with all your settings and all that stuff, and you get a little bit more at ease about showing your raw files. But it's definitely, and it was actually fast training, because in commercial photography, they usually want you to shoot tethered to a computer so that the client can see everything live as you shoot. And at first I hated that, because it's like, oh, they're seeing my raw work instantly, you know, as I'm shooting. It's a lot of pressure, but you get used to it over time, I think. So I'm cool with sharing the raws now. But definitely was nervous at first, you know.
Having you on, seeing all this really is inspiring, and I feel pumped. I feel pumped up to like to do more, I guess, with like reflectors and to dial in those settings and stuff. So
that's awesome.
All right, so here's the last one. Tell us the story behind this shot.
So this was for a modeling agency in Dallas, and they asked me to shoot a bunch of their new faces. So for these type of shoots, it's funny, they don't want much makeup. They want basically a bare face, you know, clean hair, very basic, kind of boring wardrobe, just very clean, so that basically the modeling agencies are in the business of promoting what the model actually looks like. So they don't want them overly styled. So they just want them super clean, almost like very candid, almost not your normal kind of high fashion, really dialed in, just more kind of raw lifestyle, off the cuff kind of look. So that's what this was about. And this was actually, it's funny because, you know, you have such amazing locations, whereas in Texas, I have to try really hard to find locations. And this is actually shot at the Botanical Gardens near where I live.
I thought this was on Big Island. I thought this is in Hawaii. I was like, wow, she threw me a Hawaii photo. All right, I like it.
Yeah, I wish it was in Hawaii. No, we got to get creative here. But it's funny because people go to those gardens to, you know, look at them, and you know, and it's funny because then I throw a girl up there in the bamboo in a swimsuit. You know, in the middle of it, but you know, no one said anything.
There was an interview I watched, and you were showing off an image where you had taken a swimsuit model, to a kids park, and you placed her in the kids water fountain with the little thing, and you're like so glad there was no kids around. I was like, whoa, all right, that's using your spaces. I like it.
You know, you got to do what you got to do. Luckily, there was no kids in that playground, but it had one of those water fountains, which made the water droplets look amazing because they were all backlit. You know, so you get the droplets. So I cropped out the actual fountain, which looked really janky. But that's funny. You saw that interview from HDNet, that TV show I was on for a while.
So cool.
It was fun. Cool. So this was shot with the Nikon Z7 and the 35mm lens. So I love the 35 for shooting full length fashion because it kind of elongates their legs on the edges. So it makes her legs look super long. I wouldn't shoot headshots with the 35. I always will shoot headshots with at least an 85. The 85 is a really good lens for shooting headshots because it's going to kind of compress your background and draw a lot more emphasis to your subject. So this was a fun, easy day, fun shoot. And I just had an assistant in this one. We didn't have a crew or anything, just the model.
Nice.
So,
all right, let's pull up your edit. Here we go, chat.
Cool.
There it is with that nice warm tone. Run us through it. What'd you do?
So basically I just exported it out of Capture One and then did slight, retouching. I kind of burned in a little bit of her abs in there to kind of make those stand out a little bit. And I didn't do any reshaping or anything on this one or stretching out her legs because she already looks so tall because of that wide angle lens.
That 35,
so I just did that. And then I ran a quick, I have some presets within Skyloom that I ran. And then what else? So I do an interesting thing. So after I finish the image and I save it as a TIFF, a lot of times I'll reopen it in RAW and then kind of dial in the clarity a little bit and make little final adjustments, and then I export it again. So it's kind of a really weird way of workflow, but it works for me. So, yeah.
I love what you're saying about the lenses and stuff, and this is very eye-opening for me too, you know, and because I have, in fact, I'm using the 35 1.4 right now for my stream camera, which I love it.
Nice.
Like, I bought it used off Amazon for like $900. It was such a score.
Perfect.
But it's my favorite lens. I rock with that and the 105 for weddings, and then my second shooter will usually just have the 50, and then I'll have those 3 prime focal lengths.
That's perfect. So you said the 35, the 105, and the 50?
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's probably the majority of what I use.
Nice. And for those in chat, why don't you, are you a prime lens, or do you own any zoom lenses?
I don't. I had to think about it for a second.
Yeah.
I don't own any zooms. I love the primes because they're just so incredibly sharp. Yeah. Yes.
The zooms are a bit heavier too, I find.
They are.
And man, so when I got the D4S, that was the only camera that I had. And so I was shooting weddings with that big honking piece of equipment. And so when I started streaming and got connected with a Nikon, they sent me out the Z50 first. And I was amazed by freaking how small and compact it is. I didn't get to use it for a wedding because the wedding I brought it to, I accidentally forgot the battery in the charger at home. So I was like, no. But I used it a lot. I loved it. We gave that camera away. They sent me the Z6. And that one I used at a wedding, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is half the weight of the D4S. I can shoot on silent mode. It's amazing. We gave that away, but they finally gave me a Z5 for my own, and that's what I use mainly. And I love it. But one of these days, camera. I want to get some Z mount lenses. The S line is like so sharp. So nice.
Yes.
But do you have incredible. Do you have a lot of Z mount lenses? Have you switched a lot of your F mount, or are you in the process?
I'm building it slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, lenses are an investment. And so, I just got the 85Z, which I am loving. It's funny because the other day I was shooting, so I shot some with the D5, believe it or not. I kind of went back to my roots in the 105, and I was like, it's so incredibly heavy. And then I was shooting with the Z7 II and the new 85 lens, and I was like, there's just no contest, and then I shot with that the whole rest of the day because it's just so much lighter. It doesn't kill my back. It's just, you can't go wrong. And those lenses are so sharp. Even the 1.8s, I feel like look more like 1.4 lenses. Something about the bokeh and how big the sensor is now with these new Z series. It's just, man, I'm a Nikon, hardcore Nikon fan, so I couldn't say enough good things. But
chat, the first thing Dixie said to me when we started, before stream got on, she said, Aaron, I watched the VOD. You are more than welcome to ask me questions about camera brands. So it's on, chat. Let me tell you, we'll definitely get into it, and the reasons why you like certain cameras over others that we will not mention.
Oh my God.
We will not mention those other camera brands, but that's kidding. Sorry.
Awesome.
Nickamigezo7, welcome into the account.
So real quick, thank you guys. Welcome into the stream, everyone. I'm sorry I'm skipping all the alerts just because they're super loud, and although we love to hear the TTS messages, I'm just gonna skip them for now so that we can maximize Dixie time here. So guys, !guests, you will find Dixie's website, her Instagram. If you have a question for Dixie, !question, and you will pull up a Google Docs form. We've already got over 20 questions, so we're gonna fly through them. It's gonna be good. Dixie said she's got all day, chat, so I think we're gonna turn this into a 12-hour stream, maybe a 24-hour. We'll see.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Yes. I love it. Okay, so back to the edits here. Love it. Love hearing about the primes and the cameras you use. So 35. Oh my gosh, it's so loud. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sleeper, how dare you? That was so loud. Oh my gosh. So I have this program that you can do like lights and subcommands and things like that, and Elmo just came on the stream, so okay.
Oh, that's awesome. You're very high tech.
All right, here we go. So moving on. Yeah, I mean, with the Light Den Academy, if we didn't have all these fancy lights, we would just be the den, I guess. I don't know.
That's true. Mine's just the den.
Yeah. I like your couch. I love your vibe, but it's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's the edit that I did. Again, okay, so for this one, I did not do the Fuji preset. I actually used the Kodak Porta preset that I had. It made things a bit more contrasty, a bit more warmth to it.
I love it.
First thing I did was I got rid of that house in the background. So again, in Capture One, using the duplication tool, was easily able to just duplicate it out. And then after I added that preset, I went in there and I brought back the color of the bikini because it made it washed out and more orangey. And so I went in there, added a layer. I'm sorry, I got distracted by chat. I went in there with the dropper tool. I sampled the color, and then I just boosted the saturation and changed the hue to bring it back. And then also with her skin as well, I think it was a little bit more. I think it's more green, and so I brought it back to how it kind of looks like in RAW. And then I didn't dial back the highlights too much because I felt like that's kind of what you wanted in the image, you know, because of like how bright it was and how it kind of just lit up the side of her, you know? And then had these cool like shadows with the bamboo and stuff. So here are the images side by side, chat.
I love the edit that you did. I think it's cool because with the red and the green, those are complementary colors. So you bringing out the red in that swimwear with the green background, it's a cool combo because I love using a lot of complementary colors. So if you look at like your color wheel, and if you look at all the colors and you use colors that are directly across from each other on the color wheel, for instance, like purple and yellow are across from each other, orange and blue. So if you use those color combos, your images are going to really pop. So you'll notice a lot of also movies go with a color scheme like that, like the oranges and the blues, and it's very consistent. So I definitely recommend playing with your colors, but you really brought that out in this image. I kind of desaturated all the colors and it just made it more warm and glowy. So I like your vision of it. I think the pop portrait looks really good, and it reminds me of the old film, like the Kodak portrait film, obviously. So I think you did a beautiful job on the edit.
Thank you. Someone in chat, Scott had mentioned about neutral greens. And I'm thinking, I wonder if the greens on my image is a little bit too saturated. Maybe if it was dialed a little bit back, I'm not sure. But
no, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
It's like now that I look at mine and yours, I'm torn. That's the funny thing about editing is I'll edit, you know, I'm a late night editor. I'll edit late night. And then the next day I'll go in, I'll be like, what was I thinking on that edit? Or, you know, and then I'll totally change it. So, you know, it's kind of all depends on your style and your mood. And, you know, I like the bright green. I think it's kind of cool with the red swimwear. I actually desaturated the green in the whole image of my shot and made it more that yellow. But I think it's really dependent on what your style is and what you love. But I think you did a solid edit.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, so we just got through all the images here, chat, and let me just put them all up here. Mine and Dixie's edits of all these images. what an honor it was to edit them. I think it was great.
Aw.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cut to we're gonna take a little break from these edit my photos. We'll answer some questions. We'll do like 5 questions, 7 questions,
Perfect.
and then we'll go to the other half. We'll do the other half of the questions or whatever. So,
Perfect.
chat. I hope you enjoyed that, and this is just the first half. I love it. So let's scooch on back here.
How is it already halfway done? I feel like we just got on here.
Yeah, I know, crazy. An hour and 13 has flown by. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so here we go. We got all these questions here. All right, so the first one here is from Alexhechtphoto, and he says, you might have said this before, but we'll do this. How did you get started in photography, and at what point did you realize you could do it full time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm an only child, and so I grew up, finding ways to entertain myself. And when I was really little, apparently I would get all my stuffed animals together in certain areas of the house and photograph them and make like a calendar out of it. That's when I was really, really little. And then, so I've always, I think, and I always loved picture books and magazines. So my first job was a photography job. I was shooting Little League photography. Every weekend I'd be up at 6 a.m., in junior high and high school to shoot all the sports teams, the cheesy soccer team photographs. We were shooting, all manual cameras and lenses and everything. And gosh, then I went on to yearbook in high school. And I remember I actually joined yearbook to get out of band because I played saxophone in high school, but I was terrible at marching. And one day during marching,
shout out to all the band people.
Yes, band nerds. I'm so one of them. So I was literally marching one day and I misstepped and I ran smack dab into a tuba player, and it was like a domino effect. And it was
wait, you did that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That's a scene out of a movie. Oh my goodness. If that happened nowadays, that would have gone viral on YouTube or something, or TikTok.
I so wish that there was a video of it. That would have been pretty great. But my band director at the time was not happy with me about it, and he, yelled at me in front of the whole band, told me that I wasn't good at marching, and it made me cry.
Oh no! What a jerk!
I know, right? But I can thank him that I'm doing photography now, because the next day I quit marching band, stayed in the normal band, and I said I'm joining yearbook staff. And so then I had to take, darkroom classes and stuff like that. And I joined yearbook, and that's when I think I decided, like, hey, this is what I want to do for a living. I loved it, because I'm definitely, believe it or not, I'm an introvert. Photography has gotten me out of my comfort zone and shell. So it's been an interesting journey, but I think I've been shooting ever since. So it's definitely, I never looked back.
What was the point that you realized that you could do it full time?
I think it's so in college I shot in assisted weddings, and I saw how he made a living doing photography. And then I also studied abroad in London with a fashion photographer, and I saw how his business worked and how he kind of made a living, and what it takes. And I think in college is when I also realized, like, this is what I want to do. So then I started shooting portraits on my own in college, and then friends started paying me, started sharing them on Facebook. And then I just kept going. Like, if I had a shoot that I didn't know how to do, I would Google it. I'd be like, how do you shoot interior photography? If you get an opportunity, say yes. Even if you're not sure you're prepared for it, just go for it. You'll figure it out along the way. And if you don't know, if you make a mistake or something, that's just all part of the journey. So I would always say yes to all these opportunities, and just kept going and kept making money.
So if your band teacher makes fun of you, don't fret, because it could spur you on to the direction you're supposed to take in life. So
exactly.
as BConnelly said in chat, if it wasn't for your band teacher, you may not be here today. I don't know.
Exactly. It's so true. I might be on a street corner with a saxophone, in an open case.
Real quick, to touch on this question, we'll go to the next one. But you said something, it was another interview that I watched, but you said something so good about your journey, about how you had a choice to make between a six-figure salary job or something, or photography. Can you touch on that real quick too?
Absolutely. So when I graduated from college, I studied business because I knew that I needed to figure out how to actually create a business around photography. So I studied entrepreneurship in college. And so obviously it's a little intimidating when you graduate from school. It's like, do I jump into this and try to actually make a living to it? So I got scared and I applied for an investment firm job, just basically a desk job that paid really well. And so I ended up, did a bunch of interviews, ended up getting the job. And then I had a business mentor at the time, and I'm talking to him, telling him about it. He's like, Dixie, if photography is, what you want to do for a living, then you should go for it now before, you have a bunch of
so good
overhead to pay for. And you have a fancy apartment and all that. So I was like, the next day I called that company and turned it down and just went rogue. Yeah. And made money however I could.
I love that. I love that question. I think that hits hard for a lot of people. For me, and when I got into photography, I was single. I was going out with my friends. They were all they used to work at surfboard shops. I would roll with them, don patrol, shoot surf photography, do all kind of adventure kind of photography out here in Hawaii. And then I got married. And then I had, two beautiful daughters, and the ability to get out and to do that thing was changed, because I wasn't making money full time at photography, and to chance it like that, I really couldn't. So I worked full time. It wasn't until September last year when I went full time after 12 years, and I only went full time because I lost my job. I ended up getting let go. They offered me a lower position. It's just the year of COVID was just bad, and and I started the Light Den Academy, and I knew I always wanted to teach. I wanted to do a YouTube channel, all this stuff. But I was just like, there's no way. I have 2 kids. I have my wife. I've got all these bills to pay. I need to be responsible, and then I was booking and stuff. And so my wife and we just sat down. We're like, okay, if we're going to do this, this is the time because of COVID and things aren't, normal. So we got stimmies coming. So, it's all right. So we can kind of float it and see how it goes. And since January, it's been just nonstop for me. Super, super grateful. But,
congratulations.
I appreciate that. But for people who are watching, there's people from, different walks of life who are 16 and just starting out to now, they have a full-time family. They got to care for them. They can't just quit and pursue photography. And I think the answer is just keep shooting, keep posting your consistent work, and the opportunity will come, right? Because that's how it was for you. The opportunity came for you to shoot on this TV show, and all of a sudden you're being swept away around the world shooting these supermodels out on all these different beaches, and then just boom, I don't know, it's amazing, and I'm grateful to hear your story.
Oh, absolutely. And isn't it funny how you were pushed, it's funny how we're pushed to where we need to be. Apparently you were supposed to be shooting full time. It's amazing. I think it's a great thing to start out. I started out doing a lot of assisting too when I was shooting for myself, and you can work a 9-to-5 job and do it on the side. There's always time that you can find. You wake up super early. That is some dedication on your side for what you do. It really is. It's very inspiring. And I think a lot of people make excuses, but if you love it, if you love this enough, you will figure out how to make time to do what you love. And I just say, go for it. You'll figure it out along the way.
And how about this one? If you don't, someone else will, you know?
Exactly.
If you didn't take that, someone else would have jumped on that plane instead of you and shot those supermodels, and you know, so
that's so true.
You got to do it.
You never know what doors are going to open and how they come about. You know, at that TV show job, I met, it was a girl that I assisted shooting these events at the college, you know, and she ended up being a video editor and recommending me for that TV show. And it just took off from there. So it's like, you never know what's going to come together.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Next question. Do you have a photo that people consider really good that you hate?
You know, I have photos where, I have an example. So the Nikon D5 campaign, which is one of my most favorite shoots, obviously. The shot that they ended up using, Nikon Japan, in the brochure, it did not turn out how I had planned. And so I always look at that image. I'm like, God, I could have made that so much better. There's like so many things I would have done different now. So, you know, it's all learning, but it does, when I see that, you know, it always, I'm like, oh, that could have been this, you know. A
follow-up question. Are people in the chat able to find it? Like if we search for something, can we see that image?
Yeah.
Or do you have it?
Oh gosh, it's on a hard drive somewhere.
Oh, no worries.
It's if you just go on YouTube and go to the D5, Corey Rich filmed it. It was like the D5 campaign, and it's like they interviewed us, and the images will pop up there. Okay. You can see it. It's like D5 film.
Is it on your blog? It says like WordPress is a Nikon D5 campaign.
It probably is. I would think.
We're going off on a bunny trail here, chat. But we're looking for this image. Is it this one, the marching band themed?
Yeah. It is the marching band theme. Okay. Yes. So it's... So I love that one. That was cool. Keep going down. I don't even know if I put it on the blog, to be quite honest. I didn't.
You didn't?
One image. The one
you erased it from history.
No, I mean, Nikon had it out there a lot, but I didn't put it in my post.
Okay.
But it's a different shot of the whole marching band, and it's backlit, and it's very lit with strobes.
Okay.
It's the whole group, the whole band. But if you go to the actual campaign video, you can see that image.
Awesome. All right, next question. Yeah. Good job, A9. All right, this one's from StuPock62. He put a comment and he said, "Your images are fire." All right, so the question is, would you say you have a style? If so, how do you think you discovered your style?
Ooh, you know, that's one of the hardest questions, I feel like, describing your style. But I mean, ultimately, I love people and I love the connection with people. And so I feel like a lot of fashion photographers, their work looks very mannequin-like, and it's all about the clothes. You're not as much about the connection with the subject. Whereas with my work, I like to capture the fashion and make the fashion look cool, but also bring out that personality of whoever it is I'm shooting, because I like to get to know my subjects really well before the shoot. And so I like to kind of combo that. And so it kind of becomes a high fashion with some soul.
Yeah, she does, chat. She does. In an interview, she admitted to social media stalking her clients before a shoot. One of her ways of making people feel comfortable. What was it? The other one's music and good food on set, right? Yes, always music. I always like to have their favorite and good food. All right. Nice one, Stu. Mike Cora says, Dixie, I still have the band leader hat you gave me from that D5 shoot. That's awesome. I love that. I still have a few of those band costumes too. They're cool. Okay. I think I found the image. You ready? We found it. Is it this one? Let's see it.
Yep, that's it.
So what about this image that you were like, oh, I could have made better?
You know what? It's funny looking at it now. It doesn't bother me. It actually is a cool image. That's funny how I think that the whole concept, we were either going to have a bunch of poodles or we're going to have a marching band. And part of me is like, I wish we had done the poodles as well.
Yeah.
Because then you'd be able to see downtown more. Like this is the New York City skyline. You can't even see it.
Oh,
that's the only thing, so I was hoping that we would get that New York skyline and the band. So there are just some little things that I would have changed, but now looking at it, like it's a kind of a cool shot. So maybe I'm okay with it. That's
good. I appreciate you being able to like be self-critical about your own images and be able to see afterward. Man, we could like dedicate a whole stream. Dixie, come back on and we're just gonna go through all the images and you just critique yourself.
That'd be easy. I'm very critical.
All right, next question. This one is from Unity00. Of all the photography accessories you've purchased, which one has been the most surprisingly a letdown? Or which one has been the biggest letdown of all photography accessories? Which one has been the biggest letdown? And then which one has been the most surprising delight?
So is this isn't lenses or cameras, this is like accessories? I'm
willing to say cameras and lenses too, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that fine, Unity? I think yeah.
I'm trying to think of what letdown. I wasn't as enthused. I forget what company makes it, but it was like some sort of highlighter. It was like this reflector that you put underneath the models. I had one of those and for some reason I couldn't get it to work right. So I was not as into that one because you had to have it in a certain angle and I like just using a normal reflector installation board. So wasn't as a big fan of that. I'll try to keep thinking, but as far as random accessories, that has been a game changer. I would say a leaf blower.
Ooh.
So I always will use a Makita battery operated leaf blower.
Makita,
and then to get the hair blowing.
Yeah.
So I'll have my assistant just kind of touch the model, not touch them, but like kind of blow the model's hair a little bit to create movement in all the shots. So we use those a lot. That's been one of my favorite as far as random accessories.
Yeah.
And then I'd say, gosh, I love my new Z7 II. It's insanely sharp. I mean, I always like the new camera that comes out is my new favorite accessory. Yeah. So yeah, I've been pretty freaking blown away by the files. And it's interesting because I work with a lot of retouchers. Yeah. And they work with all different files, like all the different brands. And my retoucher said there's something about the Nikon files that just out of the camera, they look far superior than the other raw files. Like if you were to actually compare them all, like the sharpness, the quality, just right out of the camera, they're already super crazy sharp. Whereas a lot of the other brands you have to sharpen. So I don't know, it's kind of a cool testament to the Nikon fans out there that right out of the camera, those files are pretty incredible.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Good question, Unity. Appreciate that. All right, next question.
Yeah.
This one is from Noor Karzan. So Noor Karzan, he's an amazing photographer from Dubai. And we got to meet over Twitch, and he's a big Capture One user. He does a lot of ad work and commercial work as well out there in Dubai. So he's got a question for you. How long have you been an ambassador and how did it all start?
Yeah, so basically I've been an ambassador since 2013, I believe. I think I'd have to go back to my Instagram post of when I posted, but I'm pretty sure it's 2019 or 2013. And so it's sort of, I'll make it short, but it's sort of a long story. So I don't know if you guys have heard of WPPI. It's like the wedding and portrait photography conference that they have every year in Las Vegas. So coming out of college, I ended up applying for this contest through WPPI, like the student version, and you had to send in your portfolio. And I ended up winning that contest. They reviewed my portfolio. And so it paid for my trip to Vegas and then to network with all these photographers at WPPI. So it was like a paid trip that I won. So I got to meet like the president of Rangefinder magazine and the organization and stuff. So I ended up keeping him updated on my work. And fast forward a few years, I went back to WPPI and I was walking through the trade show, and the president of Rangefinder, he's like, I have someone that I want you to meet. I know you've shot Nikon, your whole career, and I think you really need to meet some of the folks at Nikon. So he introduced me real quick. And so I met one of the marketing directors at Nikon, and he said, hey, would love to critique your book. I'm just getting started. And
wow.
And so what's funny was I didn't have a book with me. So he said, show up tomorrow, bring your book. But luckily I had a company that I worked with that had printed out a sample book of my work.
Yeah.
Like at their booth. So they let me borrow the book. Yeah.
What?
No, they didn't print it there. They had brought it they brought a bunch of samples, and ended up having one of my sample books.
Yeah.
So I asked them hey, can I borrow this for an hour? They're like, just promise you'll bring it back. So I brought my book into the NPS lounge, the Nikon lounge, and he started looking through my work, and he's like, wow, you shot this stuff? I was like, yeah, I shot this stuff. And so yeah, he said, well, keep me updated. I'm really impressed. And so I kept him updated for about a year, and eventually Nikon hired me to shoot some campaigns for some of their smaller cameras and then speak about it. And then about a year of that, and then they ended up launching the ambassador program. And then I got to be one of the newer ambassadors as part of that program. So it was a very fun journey, and it's such a huge honor. I mean, there's just such a family, the Nikon folks. I don't have enough good things to say about them. So
when did the ambassadorship start?
Fun.
Do you know?
I think it started in 2013.
No way. 2013?
Yeah. I think, but I could be wrong.
Wow. For some reason, I feel like it was like a lot older than that. That's crazy.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's fairly new.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And they launched it with 16 photographers to start, and then they've added a couple every year.
Yeah, and that's your thing. You are one of the original 16.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, well, last one before we move on to the second part of our Edit My Photos segment.
Yeah.
This one's from Tribe Grey Wolf. So Tribe Grey Wolf, he is another streamer here. He's a photographer in Huntington Beach, and he does weddings and elopements and things like that. So his question is, do you have an agent to help you get big jobs? And if so, how do you find the right agent?
Yeah, that's a great question. I ended up finding an agent right out of college. And it's interesting because I still work with them here and there, non-exclusively. Yeah. But it's funny, people think that an agent's just going to send you tons of work and you can just sit back and shoot, but that is just not the case. I do and find most of my own work. Mm-hmm. They maybe send me, a few jobs a year. Yeah. But I definitely recommend having your own production company because you're going to make more money because they take 20 to 30% of the, your cuts. So it adds up quickly. And also be aware when you're looking at agents about their contract, because a lot of agents want you to sign over rights to your photos. You just got to be very careful. And I like to work with no contract, and we just have mutual respect and whatnot. So that's worked out really well for me. I'm glad that I never signed any, thing, because it definitely, also when you work with an agent, you lose a little bit of touch with your clients. Whereas when I do the production, you get so much more to work with them. But if you're looking for agents, I'm trying to remember the name of the website. I'll think of it. I'll think of it and I'll send you the link because it has a list of all of them. And just look for agents that you would be a good fit to their roster. So something different than the other photographers shoot. And then just email them and see, if you'd be a good fit. And, you'll probably have to reach out to a bunch before someone takes you on. But it's definitely cool to get good jobs and stuff like that. It definitely helps. They definitely got me my first campaign. So I'm grateful for that. And then I've gotten a lot of jobs and stuff on my own too. Yeah. So kind of a good combo.
So I have like two quick questions to things you said. So touching on finding your own jobs. So, I mean, all of us here, I mean, we're just, of course, enamored. Like, oh, Nikon Ambassador, you've got such great experience and your work precedes you. Are you at a point where you don't really have to look for work, where people find you and like demand you? Or is it still like on the back end, you're the one really pushing for stuff?
It's an interesting question because I feel like the work just has been coming. I've just kind of let it be. I put my work out there. I could probably be a little bit more proactive as far as sharing my new work with clients and past clients, stuff like that. And that's something that I think I need to work on. But I've had steady, jobs and some really great clients. And it's kind of been, I mean, in the beginning, I was doing cold calling. I would cold call all the art directors at all these agencies and brands and say, hey, can I show you my portfolio and do all that? So I've done a ton of that. And then eventually when you shoot for a few bigger brands, then eventually your name starts getting out there. And so you can do a little bit less of like pounding the pavement, and cold calls and stuff like that. But definitely, I mean, I'm still hustling. This job, definitely photography is like, you gotta hustle. You gotta be a hustler.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a little bit of both and then letting things happen organically too.
So this is, this next question is going to be my question I came up with last night. So, so in the light of how things are now with like social media and things like that, when you so say you were starting out in photography today, knowing what you know, would you change anything about your journey? Would you focus on, like you said, you network with people at WPPI, yada yada, but nowadays a lot of people get recognized through social media and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. If you were to start your photography journey today, where do you think you'd put your efforts in sharing your work and things like that? Is there like a certain app or avenue or website or channel that like you would plug into, or would you continue to want to meet in person in the network?
I think both. If I was just starting today, I would definitely Instagram is so incredible as far as sharing photography work and networking, and everyone, all the brands are looking, you can get jobs off Instagram and, building your following, and then brands will pay for that. So I definitely think that's a good focus, but you also need to, the only thing is if Instagram ever goes, I don't think they'll go out, but you got to think about, also building other communities, like getting people's emails and stuff like that. Because, if Instagram ever goes out and then, or they cancel your page or whatever. So you got to think about also building up your own personal database, I think. So, and then meeting in person is like such a big part of really getting your name out there and seeing and working with people. So I think it's kind of a mix, I'd say. Okay.
So sorry, Tribe Grey Wolf, he just came in the chat. He's like, shoot, did I miss my question? So she literally just answered about finding agent stuff. So what Dixie said, she's going to send me a link to a website that she has, Tribe, and it gives a list of all these agents, and her advice was just to look on there and to do something different that other photographers don't do, and to offer them, something specific, your uniqueness. So and then
set up a meeting with them.
There you go. Love it. All right. So, cool. We got through quite a bit of questions. I'm trying to limit like one question per person. So if I see you come up again, I've been skipping. So just so I can get unique questions out there. All right, chat. How you doing? Could I offer you some water or some coffee or something? Like some spam musubi. Have you ever had spam before? Do you like that food?
I never tried it.
What? You've never tried spam? Oh my!
Name alone, I can't get past that.
Oh my! Would you be willing to try it?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Do you like bacon?
It sounds so gross to me. Yeah, I like bacon.
Do you like teriyaki flavoring, like Asian kind of food, like Panda Express stuff?
Yeah.
I think you would love a good spam musubi. I think you would love it. If you ever come to Maui, please,
Yes.
let me take you out. Let my wife and I take you out for lunch or something.
Oh, I would love that.
And we will bring you to a place that has some delicious local food and stuff. I think, bro, that would be nuts. And then of course we would live stream it so you guys can see Dixie Dixon's reaction to spam. But man, spam is delicious. I love it.
That's so funny. I'm gonna have to try it. I'm gonna have to come to Maui just to try it.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. On to the next half of this Edit My Photos segment. For those guys who were not here before, here's our guest, Dixie Dixon, Nikon Ambassador. We exchanged raw photos to edit. Hey, good morning, Mom. My mom's in the chat.
There.
Type in !guest. You will find Dixie's website and Instagram. Give her a follow. If you have any questions at all for Dixie, type in !Dixie. You can leave a comment, leave a question, and we'll get to it. So we have the second half of Edit My Photos, and then we still have the photo community photo critique. So yeah, here we go. So these images now are ones that I've shot. So if you don't know, chat, if you're meeting me for the first time, I'm a wedding photographer here on the island of Maui. There's my website. There's my Instagram. I've been shooting weddings since 2017. And it wasn't until last September that I went full time. And so this is some recent work that I've done. And I use like all natural light. I don't even like bring a reflector, but I might now. I might now after hearing and maybe have my second shooter help me out with some things. So here we go. These are the three raws. I got a maternity shot, an engagement, and then some wedding portraits, and we'll go through them one by one. So what we'll do is we will start with this first one. I will show my edit first, and then I will show yours last. All right?
Perfect.
All right, here we go. So, let me skip this alert.
Tree.
Thank you, B Tree, for the gifted sub. Okay, so this one, this is shot in a beautiful forest. I will not say because it's kind of a sacred forest, so not to direct unwanted attention to this place. Beautiful shot. This Lepo'o was made by a local auntie of mine that I've started partnering with. It's like listening to your interviews about building a team. That's kind of what I've done this last couple months. I got a couple makeup artists that I include in my my packages that comes with makeup and stuff for my shoots. And then I have an auntie who makes these flower crowns, or as we call lepo'o. So I figured that as I book more, I can bring more business to local people, and then my images can get elevated, you know, with actual nice makeup and hair and stuff. And then I have photos for my vendors that they can show off to their clients, you know. So
that's a win-win-win. Call. Yes.
Okay, so here is the edit that I did. Boom. So I'm kind of really into like these muted green tones. And for this specific image, I do have a filter that I purchased a couple weeks ago. It's called the Dream Filter by Prism FX Lens. And basically it takes all of the shiny bits of the image, anything illuminated, and it just makes it glow. So
cool.
I actually really love it, and I'm going to be using it a lot more in a lot of shoots. Yeah, as Almo says, the diffusion filter. But this is a very subtle one. So they have like a subtle and then one that's not subtle. So I chose the subtle because I didn't want it to be like too much. So yeah, anyways, muted the greens. I lifted the shadows on her body, like masked her in and lifted the shadows a bit. But yeah, and then I kind of darkened the top portion of it and then the bottom portion of it. So as the sunlight's shining through with the shadow, that's where most of the light is. So that is what I did with this edit here.
That's awesome.
Now let me bring on Dixie's edit and run us through what you did.
Alrighty. I love this image, by the way.
Thank you.
It's gorgeous. Yes, it's so pretty. So I kind of got in there and I just started playing with the color and everything. So I obviously exported it just out of Capture One. And I also cropped it. And I just felt like maybe I didn't need that bottom part as much. I just didn't think it maybe added as much to the image. So I did a little slight crop. And then, so do you know what split toning is? Okay, so I've been doing a lot of that lately. I don't know why, it kind of adds a fashion vibe. So that's where you tone your shadows a color and then you tone your highlights a color. So I toned the shadows here sort of like a purplish color, and then I toned the highlights like a warm kind of orangey color. Yeah. And then I also added sun rays that come out of the those speckles. So I added those sun rays using that Luminar software. Just kind of fun little addition. Yeah. And yeah, it was kind of neat. And then I amped the saturation a little bit on the head piece, which I love that. So pretty. And then I also elongated her just slightly with free transform.
Oh snap! There it is. I'm so slow. I'm sorry. I'm so slow, but now that I see it, it looks awesome. Wow.
It's funny.
All right, let's throw these two edits here together, and check it out. I love that sun ray that you got. I think it adds like this fantasy look to it and just dreamy. That looks really cool. And this is from Skyloom.
Yeah.
I might have to check it out. Check it out. All right.
Just click on the sun rays. They're fun. They can look really unnatural on the wrong image, but they're kind of fun to play with. You can bring the opacity down a little bit. But I love your edit. It's very beautiful. It's clean. It's crisp. So it's really just a style thing, you know?
It is. It is. And I mean, learning from each other. I like that you elongated it. And do you find, I mean, the work that you do is very commercial wise. So the models really don't have a say whether they like themselves like that or not, I'm guessing. But in this instance, when you're working with a mom, oh, they do?
Yeah.
So if I were to do this to my client, how do you think she would be? I mean, I know my client, but you know, I wonder if she'd be like,
I wouldn't even tell her.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't tell my clients. They don't even notice. They just, because they usually in person look even taller than sometimes the camera makes them look. So I don't do it too much, but I don't know. It's a creative thing. I just like the angles and the elongated.
There you go. Stu says she wouldn't notice except that she looks great.
Exactly.
Nice. I'm going to have to explore that. I'm definitely going to have to explore that and check that out.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. I love it. Thank you, man. I'm so honored that you edited my. I feel like my images are being touched by the golden touch, the Midas hand, the golden touch.
Thank you.
All right, there we go, chat. There are the three images together. All right, so crazy story about this, and maybe a little serious note. So this shoot was scheduled for April 1st. On April Fool's Day, and I was getting ready for it. This couple, I'm shooting their wedding later on this year, and I was amped, and it was supposed to be at that same forest as well as this beach during sunset. And as I was getting ready, one thing about me is I've had a history of dealing with anxiety and stuff, and it started when I was really young. And I remember I was at my tata's house, and I smelled like rat poison the neighbors were spraying next door. And I was like thinking, should I be smelling this? And I don't know, just that thought kept recurring in my mind. And so I started to feel this numbness come on my face. And I was like, is this from the poison? And it just started multiplying and multiplying. And soon I couldn't move. Like, I was hyperventilating so bad, and I thought I was going to die. And they called 911. They took me to the hospital, and the doctor came in and was just like, yeah, this is the case of anxiety. You know, that's it, you know, and told me what your body does when you hyperventilate and stuff. So ever since then, I kind of dealt with this anxiety panic attack thing that I had. And, you know, and I've shared with people before, I grew up Catholic, and then my family took me to a Christian church. And, I've basically lived my life, going to church and doing that. And so I've been able to overcome, and, I feel like a lot of it has to do mentally, with your thoughts and just being able to control your thoughts, And so when I moved to Hawaii 10 years ago or 11 years ago, I was good. And I did have one little anxiety attack, but ever since then, I've been pretty solid, pretty good.
That's awesome.
But this photo shoot happened, and I was driving. It was 5:30 p.m. The sun was just bright, and I don't know if it was because of COVID and just being indoors a lot and not seeing people and being social, but I just started getting anxiety in my car. And on the way to the shoot, to this side of the island, you have to drive on what we locals call the Pali, which is like this cliffside drive. And and I love driving here. Like my full-time job, drove everywhere. I drove big delivery box truck of furniture and had no problem driving this road. But for this day, maybe it was because I felt like I was running late. Maybe I was stressed, but I had a panic attack on this cliffside drive road.
Oh my God.
And I pulled over on the shoulder on the skinniest part of the road. And it was just the worst situation. And I had to call somebody to come pick up my truck, drive my truck home. They picked me up, and I just felt super defeated. And since then, it's I've been getting back to being better. I've been getting back to being better mentally and stuff, being out my own. And it was crazy. Just it's crazy, Epan. Like after that, like I would be driving, and I would just get anxiety sitting in the middle lane of a highway being packed by cars. Like it just going into Target and all these things. And so it's been a big struggle lately, but I feel like I've been getting a better handle on it, and I have to because I'm the provider for the family. And so I didn't mean to take over.
That's an amazing story, because it's like, I think a lot of us deal with anxiety, and most people don't want to admit that. I mean, I deal with a lot of anxiety as well. I've never had a panic attack, but I mean, my mom has, and she, it almost feels like you're going to die. Like it is like a very scary scenario. It's very serious. And so man, more power to you that you're powering on. And that's a tough, anxiety is really tough. And so I respect you sharing that, because I think a lot of people need to know, like, they're not alone in that. I agree. And I have a question I want to ask you about pressure and stuff later on, but huge shout out to my amazing wife, who's like literally helping me hold it all together. And she's kind of been a chauffeur for me for the last couple of weeks to stuff. So that's awesome. We rescheduled this shoot for them. And it was funny because when I told them that day, it was April Fool's, she thought I was joking, because I told her from the side of the road, I said, I'm sorry, something happened. I can't go to the shoot today. I'm so sorry. And they were here on vacation. So she was like, she thought it was some April Fool's joke, but I called her later on. We worked it out. I comped her on some stuff. So we set up the next day,
because that was the only time they had. And the only time they had was 1 p.m. in the sunny, bright afternoon at this sunny, bright beach. So I did my best with the shoot, and the photos actually came out pretty amazing. The other ones, but this is one of my favorite shots of this, and I knew that there was going to be shadows. So instead of just like bemoaning and just be like, the disgruntled photographer, it's not the ideal lighting, I'm just going to roll with it and just try and make something beautiful with it. So sorry, that was a long story, but that's the story behind this image, why I shot this at 12 p.m. in the middle of the afternoon. So
I love it. I love the shot. It has so much great energy to it. You can tell they're just so comfortable, and it's like you capture this moment in their world. I love this shot. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. All right. So here is the image. Dirty Dan, appreciate you, man. Have a good rest of your day at work. Okay. So this is when I was still editing in Lightroom. So I had this different preset that I used with it.
Cool.
I kind of went with more of like a dialed back, desaturated tone with this look, and I brightened up the face a lot, as you can see, compared to the raw. So lifted the shadows a lot. It wasn't this image specifically, but it was another image where I went in and I did some like frequency separation and stuff on her arm because it was a little red and stuff. So I wasn't sure if she was going to like her arm that way, but I didn't send you that file. So I was like, oh no. So I didn't have time to go back and do that. So this is just as is. But just, a really nice day, gorgeous. The blues were very strong, so I kind of just like desaturated that back and tried to make the focus more on the couple versus like the beautiful ocean. So that was my choice in editing there. Okay, so let's bring on yours. Here we go.
It's so cool to see how different our edits become.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So
I love yours desaturated.
Thank you.
I didn't do much to this image. I just brought up the shadows a little bit and just popped the color a little bit, but it really didn't need much. I mean, after looking at your images, I was thinking to myself, gosh, I wish I lived there because the locations just look sick.
Yeah.
I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, so they're amazing.
I was a little envious.
So what did you do here in this on the arm?
I just did a little bit of airbrush there because of the shadow.
Yeah.
And I may have pushed her in just slightly.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can't control their pose. Like if their arms are up against their body, it's going to make their arm appear a little bit larger than it is. So I just make it like if you have their arms off the body, then it's going to be it's going to make their arm look even tinier. But yeah, I just did a little tweaks. I always like make the clothes fit good and just do little tweaks like that. But all very natural. What she looks like in person, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, you did a really good job on it, and that's where I really want to learn too, like with Photoshop, to be able to have those skills to be able to do that for my clients and stuff. So being a part of this Twitch community, in which, by the way, chat, if you're here for the first time, there is a Discord, Twitch Photography. So Twitch doesn't have a photography channel, even though there's a hot tub channel and all kinds of other stuff that is just weird, but we created this community basically to show Twitch like, hey, there are photographers on your platform. We would love it to have our own category so that we can find other photographers, because what I do may not appeal to you, and there's other incredible people who do concert photography, music photography. There's people who do retouching, and stuff. So there's a flavor for everybody. And so me joining Twitch, I started exploring retouching. I even bought a stinking tablet, and I actually love like using the brush and stuff, the pen. So it's been really cool being able to get out of your comfort zone and learn things from other people. So, anyways, all right, let's move on to the last one. And this one was really, really special. This is a friend of mine, and I shot her wedding in this year, March. Anyways, full on Samoan wedding. All the customs, everything. It was incredible. But it was crazy because it was raining cats and dogs. Not everything was ideal for shooting. Yeah, we didn't have time to do any wedding portraits. The reception was booked of like fire dancing and dances and hulas. And I kept on asking the auntie, I was like, can I get like 10, 15 minutes to take them out? Because there would be breaks in the rain. And then there was some gorgeous light coming through with the raindrops. And it was like, it's going to be so perfect. But no, didn't have any time. And the couple was like, yeah, it's okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then like a couple weeks later, they're like, Aaron, we're moving to Vegas. You know, I was wondering if we can do some portraits. And I was like, yes, let's go. Please, let's go. So
nice.
I don't know if you've ever heard the Road to Hana, but it's a pretty famous drive here on Maui where you'll see waterfalls on the side of the road, and it's super tropical. And so we decided to do that. And this is a place called the Kenai Peninsula. At the time when I was shooting this, for some reason, Dixie, I set my previews to flat style.
Oh, yes.
And on camera, it was showing me a lot brighter than it really was on the raw, because when you set a style, it's just a JPEG preview. It's not the actual raw. So what I was seeing was not correct. And so things were a lot darker, but you know, thank God for all these amazing softwares that you can boost the shadows and everything.
You wanted to get those amazing, you know, light in the background. So I get why you shot it underexposed, so you can then bring up your highlights. Yeah. And it actually made for a great shot once you just tweaked it, because sometimes you got to get that amazing light in the background. If you blow it all out, you can't bring it back. Yeah. So, yeah. So it's a gorgeous shot. I love this shot. She's stunning.
Thank you. Yeah. And her wedding dress is one that I've never shot before, you know, and she loved it. She loved repping her culture and loved, you know, repping that dress and stuff. So here is the edit that I did. It was a very overcast morning, so there really wasn't much like color to play with. So I kind of just played to that theme of, you know, keeping the rocks black, keeping everything kind of monotone with like the sky and stuff, and then, you know, brought in that color on the lepo'o, and then some green and warmth on the mountain in the back. I even actually not on this image. On another image that I sent her, I cleaned up some of the sticks on the ground just so it wasn't as messy. But yeah, that was it. I believe I shot this with my 35. Nice. And yeah, that was one of my favorite images from this. Very moody and definitely not a typical shot that I normally do, you know, because usually I like it with greens and sunset lighting and blah, blah, blah. This is in the morning, overcast, dark and gray, but she really liked how it came out.
I love it. I love the shot. It's so artistic, and that background with her beautiful gown is just, it's stunning. I love it.
Thank you. So let's go to your image. Bring us through what you did and all that good stuff.
Man, I had fun with your images. I just sort of played.
I love it.
It's sort of crazy. It's so different. It's, you know, I played with the split tones, and then I also extended her gown out a lot. Yeah. Using that free transform. I actually transformed it wide, and also I love like making gowns even more dramatic. Mm-hmm. So I brought that out a lot. And then, so then I made the shadows that purplish color, and then the highlights that sort of orangey color. Yeah. And you know, she has great skin. I really didn't need to do any retouching or anything like that. So, I think that's about all I did. When I get into Photoshop, I just get in there and like play. And then the next day I'll look at it and I'm like, I'm going to dial that back a little bit. I might dial down the split toning a little bit today, now seeing it.
Yeah, no worries.
But it's fun, it's definitely artsy.
I wanted to take a closer look because how you elongated it and kind of widened it looks so good. Like
thank you.
When I saw this, I was like, sheesh, like full on, just this looks so good. And man, like on my image, if I had that Luminar, to be able to enhance these these light streaks.
Yeah. Oh, I did add the sun rays.
They make it so heavenly. They make it so heavenly and just transforms this image. And I love it. And I'm super inspired by what you've been doing with like elongating things and stuff like that. So I'm gonna experiment. And try and up my game here. I love it.
Yeah, that's fun.
All right. So let me put all these here together, chat. Here are the images. My edits are on the left and then Dixie's is on the right. Man, so honored to be able to have to have you edit these images. So crazy.
Fun. It was actually a really cool creative outlet, because it was like with my images, I sort of have my mindset on what it's supposed to look like and stuff. Yeah. But I was like, I can just kind of have fun and play. Your images are stunning. You're an amazing shooter. And it was really fun to work on your images. So I'm
really
grateful
appreciate
for that.
Yeah. Thank you. I was thinking, I don't know about all of them, but I might send this one, if that's okay, to my friend and be like, hey, I had someone very special edit this. I think your edit was just gorgeous and I want you to have this. Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely. You're more than welcome to send them out or whatever.
All right. I'm gonna post this one on Instagram today and
that's cool.
I'm gonna be like, holy crap, man, Dixie Dixon. All right. So
sounds good.
We're gonna take a break from the photos again. I think before I was like, how long you think? So like an hour or two. We've been going at this for about an hour and a half. I want to Cal, thank you for the sub, bro. Appreciate it. 13 months. Let's go. Can we do a couple more questions and then get into the photo critiques of the community?
Absolutely. That sounds great.
How are you doing? Do you need a restroom break or anything like that?
I've got my coconut water. I'm good.
Ooh, coconut water. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, chat. Tom's impressed that you've gone this long without a toilet break. That's so funny. Tobias Spranger says, oh my God, she's so nice. Yes.
Oh.
All right, here we go. So this question comes from Beatree. Thank you for the sub.
3 of 9.
Appreciate it. Okay. Sleeper56. He wants to know what your favorite Nikon prime lens. Actually, sorry, hold on. Let me start with the comment. He says, longtime fan, first time caller, love Dixie's work, and it's awesome to see her be a part of the Lights and Academy community. So, question is,
thank you.
Favorite Nikon prime lens to shoot with?
Ooh, that's such a hard question.
I agree.
Ooh, can I name 3? Okay. So I love the 105 for some portraits and headshots and things. And I love the 85 for 3/4 length and also some headshots, and kind of 85 is a good all around prime lens that I love to work with. And then now I've started shooting a lot with a 35 for some sort of high fashion type of looks. I would say those are my favorites. And keep in mind, I only had one lens when I started. So I only had the 50 millimeter. So you can start out, and grow your equipment as you grow your business, and you can get amazing shots no matter what you've got. So
your very first lens though was the one, would you say the 180 or the one, what was it? The 140?
The 180.
The 180. And that was a prime as well.
Yes, it is. And I still use it.
Wow. And is that a film lens?
It is. It was made for the old Nikon film cameras, and my dad passed it down to me. And so, yeah, I love that lens. It's really great for some portraits and headshots and stuff. You get a lot more flare because it doesn't have the nano coating. So
I love that story that you shared. One interview you're talking about when you were shooting for the TV show and you were shooting with different lenses, and they're like, why don't you try that 180 lens that you got? And it just like opened up your understanding of lenses and stuff.
It did.
Could you share on that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was shooting for that TV show, it was a docu-reality travel show where I shot swimsuit models at each location. So I kind of traveled the world shooting swimsuit models for 4 years. So fun. It was so interesting. But I only had basic gear when I started, and I didn't really know what I needed. You know, I would rent some stuff on these shoots, and I would always have that 50, and that 180 would stay in my bag. So I was like, why would I need such a long lens? You know, I'd be so far back. But the cinematographer that was, and the DP that was shooting, he was like, Dixie, bring out that 180 and you'll see like a big difference, you know? So I brought out that 180 and started shooting with it. And I realized that it brought so much more emphasis to my subject and then just blurred the background and compressed the whole image, and it looked more iconic. And a lot more like high fashion and beautiful. So it was definitely like a game changer when I started using that longer lens. I was like, wow, that's a huge difference, you know,
I love that.
Took the work up to the next level, I think.
I love that story. So good. Okay.
Fun.
Sleeper, thank you for the question. Next one. Gamnisfoto, he says, if you had to swap to Sony or Canon, which one would you choose and why?
Neither.
Oh!
Oh, God.
The only correct answer. Let's go. On to the next question.
So funny. No, what people don't realize is, like, I grew up, you know, assisting other photographers, and a lot of times I had to shoot with whatever gear they gave me. So I've actually had to shoot when I was first starting out some of the other brands. And then, but my dad was a hardcore Nikon photographer.
Yeah.
You know, he was just a hobbyist, but he had passed down my Nikon gear. So whenever I didn't get to use my Nikon gear, I would always be like, the images just don't look as good. So I've like been the hardcore, like I never even had to switch or anything like that because I've always just been hardcore Nikon.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Not even like a willing to entertain the question. That's not even the realm of reality.
Crazy loyal.
All right. Next question from Scooter Dom. How do you personally know a photo is finished?
Ooh, that's tough. I don't think it's ever finished. I'm just kidding. I don't know. It's funny because I'm super perfectionistic, and I find that I go too far. Like I'll edit the night, you know, in the evening, and I'll go back the next day and still make some tweaks. And then before I go and post it, then I make more tweaks. It's just, you could just go so far. But I find that, like, it's funny, I would probably post on Instagram more if I wasn't such a freaking perfectionist. So I feel like it's like, just share the work, like just get it out there, you know? It's like I'm almost you have to find a balance there of, you know, the time and everything like that. It's like you got to find your groove of when it's like good enough, you know, because sometimes you could spend 3 days and then you look back and you're like, whoa, I over edited that. Yeah. That's a tough question.
I love it.
Sometimes it's never done.
This next question comes from Archive 314. He asks, how did you figure out how much you charge to shoot for a magazine? Or, sorry, let me rephrase it. How do you figure out how much you charge to shoot for a magazine when you're still new to the world of magazine shooting?
I have a funny story.
All right, we're ready.
Yes. Okay, the first magazine shoot that I ever did, it was for Parker County Today.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a very Texas, country kind of magazine. And I remember the art director, I think I was still in college when I was shot for this magazine. So the art director, we did this shoot, or no, wait, it was before the shoot. They're like, send an estimate, of what it will cost to do this fashion editorial for the magazine. So I'm looking online, I'm Googling, I don't know what to charge. And then I read something somewhere that a normal photographer day rate is about $3,000. So I was like, sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
wow,
which is
big.
about right, but not right out of college. So I literally sent them an estimate for $3,000. And the art director got back to me and he was like, sorry, Dixie, but the most that they're going to pay for this is $300.
Wow.
I was like, wow. Okay. That's eye-opening. So I did it anyway. I wanted to do the shoot because you get great, work for your website and everything like that. But it was just an eye-opening experience because it really just depends on the magazine. I don't even think Vogue pays that much. I don't know what they pay.
$3,000 a shoot?
What?
Or pays that much for? Are you saying referring to your $3,000 that you build?
Oh,
or,
yeah. I don't even know what Vogue pays, but I've heard that it's not like what you would think it would be. Because editorial work, there's not an advertiser paying for it.
Yeah.
It's more to get your name out there. I would say using magazine work to get publicity and your work out there, and then using, if you're interested in shooting fashion, stuff like that, and actually working with the brands, those are the brands, those jobs are gonna pay way more than say your magazine work. I've had magazines just pay, I think the most I've gotten paid from a magazine was like, I don't know, $1,200. So it's a different way, because the magazines, they don't have the big bucks. It's the brands and the ad agencies.
That's good.
Those are the jobs that pay really well. So you really just, when you're in that situation, just ask the magazine, hey, what is your budget range?
That's good.
And I'll see if I can work it out. And if you can get a number out of them, it's going to make your job way easier. And then you can decide if you want to do it.
That's good. That's good. That's good advice. Archive 314. You heard that? He just came back. He's like, did I miss anything? I'm like, bro, just talked your question. But that's really good. And especially if you're starting out, it's okay to ask what your budget is. And I don't know that side of photography. When I was doing weddings, when I started out, that's how it was. I don't have the experience to set my price and to charge you, but what's your budget? I'll work with you. But eventually I came into a confident place to where I can say, now this is my price. And I just even raised my prices, because I know that this is what my experience is worth. And, I know what the market wants and I know where I am in my market. The other stream we did a couple weeks ago, I literally researched 30 other wedding photographers on Maui. Try to keep it anonymous, and then I averaged out the market, and not to undercut, but just to see where I was and to see what it is. And it was actually a really good practice. And I think photographers should do that. If you don't know what price you should shoot or you should charge, just look up 30 people in your area and see what people charge. And, of course, figure out your cost of doing business, figure out your living expenses. That's always foundation. But just see where you are in the market and go from there. And so, that's good. Figure out what the budget is in the magazine. Yes. Yeah.
And also don't be afraid to charge what you wouldn't be willing to pay. Do you know what I mean? People don't realize how much work this takes. I might not pay $5,000 a day to a photographer, but you can still, if your work is up there and you feel confident about it, you can charge, a good amount for your creativity and your art, because the thing is, if they pay more, they're going to value it even more because they made an investment in you and they made an investment in your work, and you're worth it. So I'd say also definitely do your research. I think that's a great idea to research other people in your area. And also, if you're interested in fashion and commercial, Wonderful Machine has some great estimate examples for all these different kinds of jobs, and they'll post what they estimated. So I always look to them if I'm estimating a job and I need a little help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Archive, I hope that was good for you. Moving on. So this next question. So he says, we joke about camera brands a lot, but in all seriousness, what made you originally decide on the Nikon brand? I think you might have touched on it, but you can rehash it. Was there any specific rhyme or reason, or was it just the first brand you picked up? Also, follow-up question. Are you ready to switch to the superior Canon brand?
Oh, that's funny. Superior what? So my dad gave me my first Nikon, and he gave me, it was the Nikon FG. It was an old film camera. Mm-hmm. So I
shout out to the film shooters.
Yes, exactly. So I fell in love with it, and all the dials, you know, I learned how to work the camera and all that good stuff. So when it came down to yearbook staff, actually some of my people in yearbook that I was friends with, they actually had the Minolta at that time. I don't think they're even around anymore. Mm-hmm. But I was like, no, I want a Nikon. Nice. So I got the Nikon N65, I believe was the camera. It was a film camera. And I loved it. I fell in love with it. And I've just been shooting Nikon ever since, because I don't know, with shooting people, the way the Nikon renders the skin tones, the sharpness, it's just such I don't think people realize the files that come out of Nikon that haven't tried shooting it and compared to the other brands. Like a lot of people just have gone with the marketing of the industry and think, oh, this must be the best, or it's a little cheaper, whatever it is. I think a lot of people haven't done their comparisons, because it's pretty mind blowing. The secret sauce that Nikon has within their images, and the images that come. The secret sauce of those raw files is pretty legit.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll touch back on that. I have a follow-up question for that, but I want to get through some more of these. Jasper117 says, how did you contact your first hired model?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have heard of Model Mayhem, but that was sort of the networking site for the fashion industry when I was getting started. So I would contact models on there and ask if they wanted to collaborate. And then you would just get a team together, like hair, makeup, wardrobe, model, and then photographer. And then we would just all shoot for free. And then I ended up shooting an agency model that was on Model Mayhem, and the agency, you know, saw the work that we did and liked it. And then they brought me in to shoot a bunch of their new faces. Okay. But what people don't know is you can actually shoot agency models. Any of you guys can reach out to your agency in whatever area you're in and say, hey, do you have some new faces that need new portfolio work? And a lot of times they'll send you some new faces to shoot with, and they're really easy. And then you develop that relationship with the agency. So I definitely say reach out to the agencies.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
There you go, Jasper. Just a couple more here. Stuart says, have you ever looked at something or had an idea and thought, that's a terrible idea, but let's do it, and has it paid off?
A lot of times on set, a client will give me some idea that they want to do, and I'm thinking to myself, that is a terrible idea. Yeah. We'll try it anyways.
Yeah.
So, you know, you try it and then you see whether it works or not. And sometimes it does. And then you just roll with it. But I definitely say try it.
There's this really interesting one that someone posted. A9 says, how do you feel about the anti-retouching movement that's rising on social media right now? I don't even know if that's a thing, but I don't know. Have you ever heard of that? It is?
Yeah, it is. And actually some brands now, I noticed, are not doing as much retouching, like Aerie, American Eagle. They're not doing retouching. So there are some brands that are now. Yeah, it's very interesting movement. And, you know, I'm kind of cool with either, like whatever the client wants. Yeah. I'm kind of cool with. I mean, I personally, if I was being photographed, I would want a little retouch, you know? But you know, it really just depends on the client, whoever you're shooting. Some people don't want a retouch. And also I get the idea of the movement because it's showing body positivity and, you know, people's real authentic selves. So I think that's really cool. And I support that. And I also support people that, you know, want to wear makeup and be a little retouched too. So, you know, it just really depends on your client, and I'm cool with both.
So I asked Dixie, like, have you ever done a photo critique like this before? And she said, when was the last time? Like a while ago or something? Yeah,
I did a swimwear critique on f-stoppers. That was a while back. So I'm excited.
Awesome. And so the goal of this is there was a lot. And I tried to give preference to more portrait with people in it, but there are some images thrown in where it's just like product or a landscape and stuff. And we'll, you know, give us your best, you know, critiques. So do you have access to the Dropbox link?
I do. I just brought it up.
Okay, so on her end, she has a Dropbox link so she can see the images. They're all numbered. I numbered them, and we're going to go through them. So as I show them on stream, she will see it on her computer in all its glory. And I will call you out. So if you're in stream, feel free to speak up in chat and, you know, dialogue with Dixie for a bit. There's a lot, so we'll try and get through them. Yeah, here we go. Thank you for doing this, Dixie. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And
this will be fun.
If you're in here and your image is up here, if you wanted to throw in a little like stats or like a story behind the image or whatever, because Dixie's going in cold on these. There's so many different stories, right? Every image is a story. There's so many different processes in the background of why things are, you know? So if you wanted to bring any clarity, you can do that, but we won't spend too long on each because there's so many. So here we go. Let's do this. Starting with number 1, we got Kawi Girl. Cool thing is she just got a Z6 and some new lenses.
That's awesome.
And so this is one of her first portrait sessions that she did with the model she found on Instagram. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, take it away.
Yeah, this is a cool image. I love how you framed him and with the thoughts next to him, because it's like it adds kind of a deeper meaning to the photo, and the styling is really cool. It's very artistic, and I like kind of how you framed it, and the blue all around him and those glasses. I think it's a really well done shot. The only tweak that I would make is maybe with men, I don't do a lot of retouching on men just because I kind of like the men to look more rugged. So maybe just scale back your retouch just slightly, like on his hairline. But other than that, I think it looks really cool. I think it's a great shot.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Kawi Girl, good job. Love it.
Sweet. Awesome job.
And on to the next. The Alamo. We got a nice little black and white one here. So
black and white, that's a cool shot. I like the lens that you used on this. It has a nice compression. I like the blurred outness of what's in the foreground. I think it's that bush there that's really cool. It's neat because her pose sort of kind of matches the statue a little bit. It's got a really beautiful kind of mood. Yeah, I like to do that a lot. If there's like an animal, I love animals. Someone said, is she a dog person? Yes.
Yeah.
I love dogs.
Well, actually, Dixie, we had a poll running in the chat, and we asked, is Dixie a dog person, a cat person, a fish person, or a zebra person? And the chat voted a dog person. So that's you're a dog person?
You nailed it. Dog person, 100%.
Yeah, there you go.
I love all animals, but I love dogs.
Nice.
They're definitely my fave. Yeah, that's a good call. But so I always like to kind of have the models mimic, you know, the pose of whatever else is in the shot. So it's kind of a cool sort of, she has a nice S curve and so does the statue. So, and she's also framed out by those bushes there right in the middle. It just kind of leads your eye to your subject. And I think it's a really beautiful shot.
She said this was with the 85 1.8.
Nice. That's a great lens. Is that the Z?
a Canon though. So
Oh, okay, that's all right.
we'll skip this image now. No, just kidding.
No, that's a beautiful shot. I don't
Good
really
job, Alamo.
have any tweaks. So, yeah.
All right, on to the next one. This one is from Mattsobo.
Great. All right. Beautiful. Man, those colors, that red is just like fierce in this shot. I think that's awesome. It's funny because red, you have to be careful how you use red too. If you've got someone in the foreground and you've got something red in the background, the viewer's eye is going to go straight to whatever is red in the background.
I like that.
So definitely use it on your main subject like he's done here. And yeah, I think it's really a beautiful shot. I like her kind of attitude and her expression, and the lighting, the backlit is really beautiful. And it looks like you either used a strobe or a reflector here. And what do you think, Aaron? Do you think it was a strobe or reflector?
I want to say this looks like a light. This looks like a strobe.
Yeah.
It looks kind of too powerful for this sunset light. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. So if that more lit look is what you're going for, I think that's really cool. If you want to make it a little bit more natural, you could scale down that strobe just a little bit and make it more look like natural light. But it's really kind of dependent on what your vision is. But I think it's a beautiful shot. I might move the hair out of her eye just so that you get that connection a little bit more.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it looks great. Beautiful.
I don't think Matt's in here, but I think he's going to watch the VOD after. But good job, Matt.
Oh, good.
Gee.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Mr. Elijahsaldana. He's a wedding elopement photographer in Vegas.
Cool. Wow. I love this shot. That's beautiful. Man, the lighting, the pose, the connection. I love the clouds and the lens flare. Man, I'm a total sucker for backlight. So I love that stuff, and just the color and everything, I think looks really beautiful. I don't know that I would change anything. I might fix his pant leg. I would push it in because it looks like it's on his shoe a little bit.
Okay.
It's crinkled on his shoe. That's me being like super hyper.
No, that's good. I think he'll appreciate that.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
He submitted a couple others, and for those of you guys in chat that submitted a couple others, I'm running through so everyone gets a chance to get critiqued, and if we have time, we can look over those extra images. But if you look at Elijah's other images, you can totally see his style. This is it. He loves to use flash, off-camera flash, and I think he just upgraded his Sony camera, so he's got lots of megapixels to work with and stuff. And I believe he added this lens flare in as well, so it's kind of like his little trademark thingy. But,
that's cool. So he put a flash behind them, I'm guessing. Yeah, it looks, it looks natural, but I can tell that there's a cool flash in there, and it looks good though. He did it in a beautiful way.
Good job, Elijah. Next, here we go. Something different. We got Ernthealmighty.
Cool. I love this shot. It makes me super hungry.
Do you ever do shots of just products? Just product photography? Yeah? All right, cool.
It's funny that you say that because I have a newfound appreciation for food photographers because I just did a campaign for a hotel and they needed a ton of food photography. And man, it takes forever to get the food styled right and lit right and all that stuff. So man, it's an adventure, but this is cool. I love how the depth of it, like your main focus is that main cookie in the middle, and then just it's surrounded by those that slightly go out of focus. And it just makes you like want to bite into it. It looks so good.
Yes.
It looks really neat. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid shot. The only thing that I might tweak would be to maybe move the main cookie just a little bit more towards us. So it's kind of a little bit more on that plate. And then you can also add some movement in food shots by like, or whoever shot this, sorry, I don't know if it's a he or
Ern,
she.
Ern.
They could actually take some of those sprinkles and capture some motion and drop them in the shot. We did that a lot on the hotel shoot. We would drop cinnamon into the frame, and you could see the cinnamon just kind of falling onto the food, and it gave it like an extra oomph, you know? So this is a great shot. I love it.
Nice. Good job, Ern.
Yeah.
Like it. On to the next one. Cool. This is Fotobynomad. She's out there in New York City, and she's a fantastic car portrait photographer. But yeah, that's
cool. Wow, I love her kicks. Those are awesome. Yeah, I love the sky here. It's got a really cool lighting and vibe. I think the turning on the headlights was key. You know, with car photography and stuff like that, you definitely want to make the car look rad. And then the model looks really beautiful here. I like her pose. It looks very relaxed. You use that wide angle lens, so it kind of elongates her legs, which is a cool look. Yeah, using that fashion look and that low angle elongates even more. So I love to do that in my fashion work too. So I think it's a cool shot. I'm wondering if the shot is for the company that's listed on the background or if it's just like a portrait. Because if it's a portrait, I might want to take out the text in that sign or something and make it a little bit less pronounced. But if it's actually for that company, then it's good that shows up. So it kind of depends on what the usage is.
Yeah. I wonder if she's in here, but I saw her earlier, but that's really good pointers and stuff. Oh, she says it was a car event, so it was a bit of both.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I imagine this company would love to use this shot, you know, since they've got their business and stuff in there. It's a really beautiful shot.
Yee. So. Good job, Nomad. All right.
Oh, and you got complementary colors in there. You got orange and blue. So good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This one is from Mikeytendo. He is out there in Florida, photographer.
I like that hair. It's funny. I used to wear my hair like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Before the hats.
Before the hats. Yes. I was in a punk rock band, and you know.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. That's sick.
It's so fun. So yeah, I like her hair. It goes with the styling really well. Little jean jacket with that cool texture, and you know, layering textures is really good for portraits. So if you've got, you know, a model, you might think about putting a jacket on her because it just kind of adds an extra layer and adds more texture to your photograph. So that's really beautiful. And then I love that you use such a long lens because that background just goes out of focus really beautifully, and it draws a lot of emphasis to your subject. Nice catch lights. And the retouching looks good, and her expression's cool. So when I'm shooting portraits, a lot of times I'll have them close their eyes and then tilt their head down slightly and then open their eyes on 3 towards camera. And that kind of creates a fresh expression. So you can do that as you're shooting if they're kind of looking a little bit tired or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's always a good call. But I also like that you're at a higher angle. Because whatever is closest to your lens is going to appear larger. So if you're from a high angle, your eyes are going to really, so your subject's eyes are really going to stand out.
That's good.
Yeah. So you did that here. So beautiful.
That's so good. All right. I'm writing that stuff down. Shoot. I love that. Especially the closing the eyes and then opening it back up. I like it.
Yes. Very helpful.
All right. So this one is from Alex. He is a film photographer. So I believe this is a film scan that he slipped in here. I'm stoked.
Nice. I love it. This looks very Texas. That's awesome. Yeah, I love shooting the cowboy style stuff and all that good stuff. And what a cool film shot. It's very fine art. It has a really cool vibe to it. I love the black and white. Gosh, I don't know that I would really change anything. I think it's a really cool shot. I think that it's neat that you see the hint of someone on the right. So you get sort of like a triangle effect with the image. So it kind of keeps going around the image to your main subject. yeah, I mean, it's a really, really cool shot.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of interesting to see a little bit of his face, but it's also kind of mysterious without seeing, his face. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Awesome job.
Good job, Alex. On to the next. This one's from Gamnisfoto, photographer out in Sweden. And he mainly does landscapes, but he's like, I do have this one portrait shoot that I did with a local blacksmith. So he threw this in.
That's fun. Man, he's got like a great, very rugged look. He looks like a blacksmith.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great how you use the light here. Definitely with him kind of looking out towards the light, that's called short light. And you get a nice shadow on the side of his face, which kind of frames his jawline and his face really nicely.
Yeah.
So you did a great job at that. I think it looks really cool, really rugged. Man, I want to see this shot in black and white. I feel like it would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lighting looks cool. The only thing I might tweak, just the background looks a little bit busy. With whatever's on those shelves there. So I might either kind of style those or clean those up just a little bit to drink, so you're not distracted by him or by the background. So you want all your emphasis to go to your subject. But other than that, his expression's cool lighting, and awesome job. That's awesome. You're a landscape shooter. You should do more portraits.
Oh, there you go. Love it.
Yes.
So good.
Cool.
All right. This one is from Sean Maguire. I've never seen his name in chat, but if you're in chat, Sean, let us know.
Oh.
You are up, my good sir.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the perspective of this one. It's like you feel like you're gonna lean over and like fall into this shot.
Yeah, I'm freaking out a little. This is whoa.
I know, right? Like, how is she? Yeah, it's kind of the depth of it's really cool, and just like the focus and the lens that they used, where the emphasis is on the face. It's a beautiful shot. I like the water at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's very dramatic. Very dramatic shot.
How do you feel about the colors mixing with the dramatic mood of this? Do you feel like maybe the blue's a bit too bright?
I feel like it could be desaturated a little bit. Yeah, just to kind of make it even more moody. And the other thing I might tweak is bring up some of the shadows in her hair, and then also take out this dot above her head on the rock. It's just kind of distracting.
Yeah.
I would just take that out. But other than that, it's a really cool perspective.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good job, Sean.
Awesome. Beautiful.
We are just flying through these.
Yeah.
You doing good?
Yeah. Doing good.
This next one's from Bomber Tank.
Cool. Very neat. Man, this is very artistic. I like how she's framed by the ring light. It's really artsy. Like, most people will use a ring light. They don't think to actually use it in frame, which is cool. And yeah, I mean, it's a neat expression. I almost, it's very like artsy, what's the word? Futuristic. Kind of like a futuristic vibe.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. I almost want to see her completely centered, and then with the background, so it's just all dark in the background to make it even more like futuristic and pop even more. But I think it's a really beautiful shot. I like her makeup. She has that gold kind of eyeshadow, which is neat. And it's a really artistic, cool shot.
So he said in chat, this is shot on the Canon 5D. The backstory was before her chemo treatments.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Is she okay now? I hope she's doing good.
Yeah.
That's
love
a
this.
hard thing.
When I first saw this, I thought of Wakanda from like Marvel. You know how the women, were all, clean shaven, bald and stuff, and but very powerful. I felt she was like just very powerful in this shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And man, she just looks like a badass. And I love that because she's going to take on cancer and pull through it and kick its ass. So I think that's awesome. Beautiful, beautiful work.
Good job, Bomber. He says that she's fine. All right.
Oh, that's awesome. Good.
Good job. All right. Next one. This is from Dirty Dan. And what this model is holding, by the way, is something called Dencoin. Our community, we fundraise and we literally have our own currency. Like in chat, like people can gamble and stuff as they watch the stream. But we raised enough funds where we actually made our own coins. So they're like 2-inch bronze coins. So that's just being modeled here.
That's so neat. I want to zoom into that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the framing on this one. Beautiful how you framed it with all the flowers and everything. It just kind of frames your subject. And I like how some of them are out of focus and just kind of draws your eye into the photograph. So yeah, great job on the framing and the colors look really beautiful. And you're like curious about what that coin is, you know, when you're looking at the photo. It's very artsy. Yeah, I think it's really nice. The only thing I might tweak is maybe add a little bit more light to her face so that she stands out more. You could bump in a reflector and kind of highlight her face a little bit more and maybe highlight the coin a little bit more. Yeah. And then she'll really stand out even more in that image. But it's a cool shot. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, because you can see that light coming from the right. If they had that reflector here on the left side.
Yes.
Something like that. Awesome.
Just bump a little bit more light in there. And I would recommend using a silver reflector instead of gold because the gold kind of messes with your color balance a lot.
Good stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Onward. This one is from 47 Islands.
Yeah. Cool. This looks like it was maybe shot in New York. Has like a very city New York vibe. Yeah, cool shot. I love her styling. The jacket and the tights and boots and everything. It goes really well with the background that you chose.
Yeah.
It just fits the scene. Like really good job on the fashion and the styling and everything. And I love how she's facing the light. You get a little bit of Rembrandt lighting on her cheek. You get that triangle and little hair light. I think that's really nice. I'm curious if that was like a street lamp or something like that. But it's got a neat mood to it. I almost want you to play up the cool tones even more in this shot. Like even make it cool, like even more cool. Like bring down your slider a little bit, just kind of give it a little even more oomph and you know, just kind of playing with her expression, maybe having her walk in a few shots like she's just walking, you know, looking towards that light and just kind of playing with your poses would be cool just to capture some other expressions and stuff like that. But I think it's it's a cool concept and great job with the fashion in the background.
Yeah, a lot of people in chat were commenting like, "Oh, I could instantly tell this was 47 Islands." He's a photographer in Canada, and his work is very consistent with his styling like this.
Yeah,
and
I love
it's interesting because he uses a software called Darktable. And oh my gosh,
Tom_Holmes_photography donated $10 to cover the cost of a memento Den coin to send to Dixie.
So somebody just donated for me to send you a Den coin. Would you accept the Den coin? Could I send you one?
I would love one.
All right. Tom Holmes.
You know what?
There it is.
I'll send you a Nikon coin.
Oh no. No way. Oh my gosh. That'd be so sick. Oh my gosh.
I will totally send you a Nikon coin.
No, I didn't even know Nikon had coins. What?
Yes. They did them for a while and I still have some left.
That's sick. All right.
Yes.
All right. That sounds good.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right. Bringing it back. That's so cool.
So what software did he use on this? You said
it's called Darktable.
Darktable. Cool.
Someone donated.
Sleep donated $20
$20 more to be able to get Den coin out to you. That's so funny.
Oh, so nice.
I love it.
Thank you.
But Darktable is a free photo editing software that none of us have heard of it before, and it's just man, that's so cool. So if you go to his stream and he's working on Darktable, it's really interesting. But
that's cool.
Yeah, he does amazing work for sure.
It looks very consistent with his whole vibe and the styling and all that. Great job on that stuff. Looks awesome.
Good job, 47.
Yeah.
All right, here's our first landscape shot. So Stu was trying to get my attention in chat because he had submitted another portrait one. But I still wanted to throw up his star trails and stuff like that. I wanted to see what you thought.
Yeah, those look amazing. I shoot a little landscape, not a lot. So I don't know that I'm the person to critique landscape, but it looks like a really neat shot. I love the star trails. I wonder what time of day this was. In the middle of the night in a long exposure. I would love to know his settings and stuff. I'm so curious of what that green light is.
I believe it's a boat.
Oh, it's a boat. That's cool.
He says it was at 3:30 a.m.
Nice. That's my kind of time of night to edit.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I'm a light night owl.
Wow.
But very cool. It's a really neat shot. I like the glow of the boat. Yeah.
That was 10 seconds, ISO 2000, 1.8, 14 millimeter, and
cool.
Sony. All right.
I like the 14 millimeter for wide landscapes.
Yeah, it's
cool.
tack sharp, especially if you zoom in on it. It looks so great.
That's awesome.
On to number 8. We can just call him Flo. He's a wedding photographer in Romania, and he shoots with the Nikon D610. So I believe this was a double exposure in camera.
Oh, that's cool, because I thought it was shot through a window. So that's neat. Man, it's so fun to make those double exposures. I do that with my Z7 too, and it's just such a fun artistic thing to play with.
I always forget. I forget to do that with the double exposure.
Yes. They're fun. I've created some cool fashion-y stuff. They're very trippy. You're like, wait, how is that?
Yeah.
How is that happening? That's really awesome. I love the moment you captured, the lighting on the antlers. That lamp is really cool. It's funny, that looks very Texas to me. And your bride and groom looks really calm, and it's a neat shot. I like the double exposure. I like how you used it. Beautiful.
Nice. Good job, Flo.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Oh, one thing to note too. This is an indoor church. So bumping up the ISO and stuff, not having access to placing a lot of lights around, I think capturing the image the way it is, it's not too noisy, but it's good. It's a little sometimes a little grain is okay. Yeah. And these cameras now, the 610 is pretty great, low light. So it doesn't bother me. It just looks more film-like. It's really beautiful. Good job, Flo. Yeah. All right, so this one is way out there. This is from Tobias Spranger.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love this shot. It's so different. And the way that you've used the alien in the shadow and the lighting and everything with that palm tree. It's a cool artistic shot. Especially now it's coming out in our world, all these UFO sightings. That's a neat image. Very artistic.
They said it was shot on an island in Africa, Equatorial Guinea, at a body painting festival. The painting was done by 3 of the best airbrush body painting artists in the world. The model was so nice and waited for me until I was back from a shoot in the orphanage.
Wow, that's awesome. That's crazy how good that body paint is.
Yeah.
That is hard to pull off. good body paint. I mean, you see it done in Sports Illustrated and stuff like that. And it takes them like 8 hours, you know, and I think it's cool. I like the shadow and the sort of spookiness of it.
One thing someone noticed too, even in the shadow, it's like the alien has 3 fingers instead of a 5. That's really cool.
That's genius. Those little details, I mean, really cool.
Good job, Tobias.
Like unconventional stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah. All right. We still have just a bit more. How are you doing? You good?
Good. Yeah.
All right. Onward. All right. Here we go.
Yes.
Oh, we got a baby pic here coming in from Tom Holmes in the UK.
Oh, nice. Oh, look at that cutie. It's so precious. Wow.
He said this was his sister's 10-month-old shot for a family card. Lighting is 2 cheap soft boxes left and right, and a bit of flash bounced off the ceiling.
Nice. Wow. That's a cutie. I love how the eyes stand out really beautifully and how you framed everything with the presents in the background and just the moment that you captured in this shot, I think is really beautiful. I mean, look at that little cutie.
Nothing wrong with this one, Tom.
Bambino. It's so precious.
You just called him a Mambino?
Bambino?
Wow.
So cute.
All right.
Yeah, the only thing I might tweak is I know you have 2 lights on the side, but maybe bring them a little bit more centered so you get a little bit more light under his eyes. But other than that, I think it's a beautiful shot.
Good job, Tom.
Yeah.
All right, this next one, we've got an automotive shot, and this one actually was used for a cover of a magazine.
Cool.
So he wanted to know what your thoughts are on this one.
Yeah, great shot. That's awesome. I love the movement. You know, it's like it just captures, like it almost looks like the photo is moving. You know, I almost want to see this as what are those moving images called? Totally drawing a blank.
Yeah, me too.
Cinemagraphs. I almost want to see this as a cinematograph where it's actually moving. But yeah, awesome shot and moment. I can totally see a car magazine using this on their cover or in the magazine. And
yeah,
I like that how you framed it, because if you're shooting for magazines, you got to you got to think through as far as framing and cropping. Like you gave them a lot of negative space on the bottom to put a bunch of text, which is great for magazines. You also want to leave room at the top and on the sides so that they have room for text. So thinking about the magazine, if you're going to be shooting for it, or an ad, like where the text is going to go. So you gave them a lot of negative space to use, which is awesome. I think it's a stellar shot.
Good job, Connolly. Well done. He said he was hanging out the car next to it, and he had a Canon R6 with the 16-35.
That's cool. So you were following it as it was going. That's awesome.
Yep. This is
Good
from
stuff.
Guy Rowe, I believe.
All right. Cool. That's got a fun kind of moody, artsy vibe to it. I love the lens that you use, and you know, it kind of blurs out that background really nicely. And you know, it's a cool kind of artsy shot. I might just tweak, like the lighting is really bright on her face, so I might just kind of bring that down just a little bit, and then maybe also kind of bring her head down a little bit so you get a little bit more eye contact with your subject. But it's a neat shot. I like all the drop of light. It's very artistic. So yeah, very cool.
How do you feel about shooting in dense forest like this with lots of shadow like this? Do you ever do that a lot? Do you find it tricky, or like do you have a certain technique to really get a good exposure on the face in shadow situations like this?
It's tough. Usually we will use the dappled light. We try to get a consistent light on their face. We'll find like an area in the forest where there's enough light on her face, and then if there's dappled light throughout her body and stuff like that, that's cool. But we kind of try to get like a consistent part, at least on part of her face. And then, shooting in a way that you still get some highlights and you still get some shadows so that you can bring it together and post. It's a tricky lighting scenario.
Yeah.
So yeah, really
Awesome.
tricky. So yeah.
This one's from Oleqsa. Very interesting. I don't even know what's going on in this one.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I don't either. Very artsy. It's like it's one of those images that it makes you look closer because you're like, wait, what's going on? That's cool, though. You make people think and kind of look even deeper into the shot. That's part of photography, is just when people are flipping through magazines to make them stop and look for longer than 2 seconds, So you definitely did that successfully. It's like, whoa, what's going on? Those are some cool shoes.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, very neat.
Let's see. Oleqsa in the chat says, this is a backstage for my friend. So I think he said backstage shot for my friend. I always shoot parts of him while he's shooting pics. So it's Oleqsa shooting a picture of a photographer doing his work.
Wow.
We call him Maestro, and he comes up with funny. This was a shoes promo shoot. Oh, okay.
Oh, cool. Okay. I was going to say the shoes are really neat. I love those. Those are beautiful. Very intricate and shiny, and looks like he's got some sort of tattoo going on. That's neat. I mean, it's definitely a cool perspective and very artistic, kind of out of the box. I like seeing out of the box stuff. It makes you think.
Yes.
Yeah. Great job.
Good job, Oleqsa.
Yeah.
Next, number 12, we got Jasper, and here we go.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, I love the S curves that the brush is making with your subject, and kind of the highlights just makes a nice S curve. I'm always looking for S curves in photographs, whether it's, the models making an S curve or the road in the background making an S curve. Those are always really pleasing to the viewer's eye. So I think that's really cool. And this shot makes me wonder, like, who is that person? It's very kind of a moody type of vibe. And I almost want to see like his profile or something, just to know a little bit more so I can connect with it more. But the lighting and the framing and posing all looks really well done.
Yeah. He's always got some nice edits when he does it. But I really like the grass. Beautiful. It's so cool.
I do too.
It's so soft and like peaceful.
It is. It's a very peaceful photograph. Nice. Oh, I love that. What a beautiful bird. I want to know, what kind of bird are you?
Have you ever tried to do wildlife photography?
I've shot some. I definitely need the long lenses for that. Long lenses. But one of the marketing directors at Nikon is an incredible bird photographer. And so I love looking at birds shots because they're just, they're beautiful animals. And I love how this bird, you captured kind of the personality of this bird a little bit. You can see he's kind of looking up, and it's nice lighting on the back. It's like a nice backlight, kind of frames him. You can see his nice little stripes and everything. And man, I almost want to see a cropped in version where you get even closer to him, because I want to see like the texture on his beak and all that stuff. So maybe try a cropped in version. Yeah. Because that's a really beautiful shot. And I love the greens, and the lens you used is great. Draws a lot of emphasis to the bird. Really cool stuff. I love it.
Good job, brother.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I lied. Okay, this is the last time. This is the last one. But last one, I wanted to scoot this one in here, but here we go. Scooter Dom. This one's from Scooter.
Okay.
And so he's a photographer in Colorado, but this one I believe he's in Chicago.
Where? Sorry, it's somewhere in my Dropbox.
It is titled
I
Dominic.
found it.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's a cool shot. I love
Anonymous
that shot.
gifted
Is this
Nicholas
a
a
self-portrait?
subscription.
What was that?
Is this a self-portrait?
I believe his wife shot it for him.
Oh, that's awesome. See, if I was a photographer, I mean, I am a photographer, but as a photographer, I would...
That's so funny.
That is funny. I would love to have a shot of myself like this. I think it's like a cool message, love one another on your hat. And you can tell, you know, it's got like that vintage vibe with the camera store and just the framing. I mean, I love this shot. This is totally something I would love to shoot.
You said earlier too with the red and green colors. So we got those nice contrasting stuff.
Complementary colors.
Yeah, complementary.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome.
I believe this is also during a riot that happened in Chicago. And this store burnt down in the Chicago riots. So
that's so sad.
Having this hat on, showing this message, you know, with having, you know, mayhem occurred here. It's a cool little message.
So it's got an even deeper meaning, and that's just makes it even cooler. Wow. Yeah. I love it. I think it's so well done and such a cool message.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let me switch it back here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for submitting photos for this critique. And thank you, Dixie. You sat through the Edit My Photo segment, questions, the community critique. What do we have left here? We've got some more questions, but before we do that, we've got a giveaway to do. And I told the chat we were going to do a giveaway, and I confirmed it with Dixie. And what I decided to do and what we're going to do is we're going to give away a signed book by Dixie Dixon. It's on fashion and lifestyle photography. There it is, chat.
Woo!
So what does this book entail?
Yeah, so it's a book that I wrote. I spent about a year writing, and it's how to get into the fashion and commercial industry and how you create a name for yourself and create a brand as a photographer. And it also has like a bunch of lighting diagrams, you know, how to do lighting, posing. It's kind of like everything I've learned up until this point. I just put it in a book.
Yeah. So, sick.
Yeah.
So that is what's up for grabs, chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this giveaway. So in 3, 2, 1. There we go. Giveaway has started. And back to the questions here. Let's see here. Where did we leave off? Okay. So this one is very nosy. You can answer this if you want to. Being a Nikon ambassador, do you get paid by them, or do you just get gear? Do you have to go to a certain amount of Nikon events? What's it like to work for them?
Yeah. So I think that probably everyone's contract is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I can't speak for, you know, other people, but they give us basically, not cash, but money to buy new equipment and gear. And then we also have to do a certain amount of posts a month. Also do speaking engagements. And then they also consider us for, you know, the campaigns that, that they launch with new cameras and stuff. So we'll get to work with the cameras before they're released. So we get paid, you know, for that stuff. So yeah, does that answer? I mean,
I believe so. That was good. I think you hit it all really quickly. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, some brands, it's like, you know, some sponsors just give gear and trade, which is great. And then some brands, if you're doing like a lot for them and stuff like that, they'll pay. So it's just kind of depends on what it is and what the project is and whatnot and what the brand is. So
yeah.
The
last question there, what was it like to work with? What's it like to work with Nikon? I mean, how long have you been with them, and then what's it like to work with them?
Yeah, so gosh, I've been working with them since probably 2012. So obviously I love it. They're like a family. Ultimately, I mean, the folks I've gotten to know so many amazing people. What's cool about Nikon is everyone in the company, they're all photographers. Mm-hmm. They all love photography. They shoot. They lend them gear to all their employees to go out and shoot. It's like a very soulful company. And I feel that it just comes through in, the gear and everything that they create. And they really, they try to be like with no ego. I notice that all of the people that they have taken on, they don't have these huge egos where they think that they're like better than everyone else or anything like that. They're just really photographers that are really passionate about what they do. Yeah. And they love photography and they love to help people. And that's kind of what Nikon's brand and the people in it I've experienced are like. And that's why I love it so much. They've been such amazing folks to work with.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So Sleeper56 asks, have you ever shot the newer 28 1.4? And if you have, what do you like better, the 28 millimeter 1.4 or the 35 1.4?
Ooh, that's tough. Because I love that 35 lens, but it's funny because I just recently put the 24 on my list.
Ooh.
on lenses that I want to get.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how you pick, but the 35 is really cool for full length fashion. The 24 is really nice if you want to get like that wide landscape with someone in the center of it or something like that. So you really can't go wrong with either of those.
Good.
They're both pretty amazing. Yeah.
Good stuff. This person... Okay, I'll ask that. I'm sure but they asked, how do you feel about Nikon using Sony sensors, made by Sony? But I feel like the answer that you would say is they may be Sony sensors, but Nikon adds their special sauce to make it even better. They do. Better.
You answered it perfectly, actually.
Yeah. All right, awesome. So this one's from Pant, just the name Pant. No, Eat Pants. His name's Eat Pants. Anyways, do you exclusively shoot with Nikon glass, or is there any particular third-party lens you like or are able to promote?
I don't shoot with any third-party lenses because I honestly feel like so much of Nikon's advantage is their lenses. Mm-hmm. They may be a little bit more expensive, but they're going to last. And I just find them to be so stellar that I wouldn't even, my dad had a couple of off-brand lenses that, came apart and I don't know, just weren't great. So I've never actually even put another brand of lens on my Nikon camera.
Wow. Pure. She keeps it pure and undefiled.
Yes. You got to have that secret sauce with the lens and the camera. They come together.
All right. I think we got one more. Let's see here. Alexa asked, what is the oldest lens Dixie shot with? And what is the oldest camera she owns? I believe that's what they're trying to say.
Yeah. So I have the original Nikon F, which is one of their first film cameras. It's completely manual. It's with a 35 manual lens as well. So sometimes when I'm wanting to shoot film and fine art, I'll play with that. It's really cool. I love the old lenses, especially for like video and stuff. They might have like light leaks or it's cool lens flare because they don't have the nano coating. So I enjoy those old lenses.
Okay.
The quality. It's cool. They're still around.
This next one, this one's from FL Photos. His name's Fabian.
Yeah.
It says, hi, Dixie. This chat has been insightful. Keep up the great work. And his question is, what is the best business lesson you've learned from being in the industry?
Thank you so much. I'd say the best business lesson in the photography is basically to go out and shoot what it is you want to get paid to shoot. So basically you have to show what it is that you want to shoot. So if you want to be a fashion photographer, you have to go out and create a fashion portfolio, even if you're shooting all of it for free to start out. And then you go and show that work to people, because people are going to relate your brand, what it is you're showing them.
Yeah.
Because if you're wanting to shoot weddings and you don't have any wedding work, then it's hard for people to think about hiring you, because they don't know that you can shoot that, you know. So you got to really be careful about what you put out there. So if you're shooting, you know, weddings and portraits to pay the bills, but you want to get into fashion, I would suggest having 2 websites, one wedding and portrait and one fashion. And then depending on who the client is, you can send them, you know, which website applies to them, to keep it very niche focused, so that your brand is very focused.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Last question. From Archive 314, what do you use for long-term storage of your images?
Yes. So I have always used the G-Tech drives. You guys heard of them? G-Technology?
I believe they have, yeah.
Yeah. So I actually work with them now, and I've got all of these hard drives. Y'all can't see them, but like 24 terabyte drives over here. And so they're always backing up my images constantly. And then I do a third backup offsite. I actually keep it at my parents' house just in case something were to happen here. And then I do a 4th backup on Dropbox. I have the unlimited Dropbox.
Ooh,
so
unlimited.
So that's helpful. So every time I come home from a job, I'll back it up to 2 hard drives here, and then Dropbox, and then that 4th one at my folks' house.
Nice.
The last thing I want to do is lose images, but I love the G Speed shuttles. Those are great. And the small, like, these things are amazing. These little SanDisk SSDs. So
I've seen those before.
Yeah, they're solid state, so they're crazy fast to use on set and stuff like that. I also like the G Drive mobile SSDs are great too.
Nice.
So I work with them a lot. Yeah, I have a discount code if you want me to.
Ooh, yes, please.
Yeah.
You can put it in the Discord chat, and then I'll just blast it in chat and stuff.
Yeah.
We would love the support. Yeah, we talk a lot about like the cloud backups and stuff. There's a lot of services, but I didn't realize Dropbox. No one's ever recommended. Everyone says like Backblaze and like Amazon or whatever, but nice.
Yeah. I've been Dropbox has grown on me.
All right, chat. So this is the last minute to get your tickets for the giveaway. Type !ticket, and then any number that you want to buy. The maximum of tickets is 10. We're gonna draw it live on chat, and then I will show the screen so people will know that I didn't cheat or anything, just in case a certain someone wins again, which is Alex, because he literally wins everything. So
That's awesome.
Right. Here we go, chat. I'm closing the giveaway when this timer reaches 13. All right? All right, here we go. We got 180 tickets purchased. That's pretty good.
Nice. Whoa. Very cool.
Dixie, as we wrap up here, how did you like being on Twitch? How'd you like being on stream? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I had a blast. Everyone's
glad.
Been so awesome. I almost feel like we met in person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. It's a really cool experience. I enjoyed everyone's questions and images. And I think I'm leaving this feeling really inspired myself. So thank you guys.
Yes, I'm so
for this
glad.
Opportunity. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Nice.
Here we go. We are closing the giveaway in 3, 2, 1. All right, giveaway is closed. We are going to draw the winner. Here we go, chat. Actually, let me see some hypes up in the chat. Let me see some hype emotes and all that good stuff. There we go. Just spam the crap out of the hype emote. How much do I donate to disqualify Alex? I don't know if you can do that, but everyone's already congratulating Alex. That's so funny. All right. I love it. There we go. There we go, chat. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, here we go. Drawing the winner in 3, 2, and 1. Yay! Ernthealmighty has won the giveaway. Cheers!
Very nice.
Congratulations, Ern. Now's your chance. If you have anything to say to Dixie, now's your time. I'm going to throw her up on the big screen. And Dixie, just read through chat. They're going to share all their love messages with you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys. Oh, love the braid. You guys are awesome. Oh, you're inspiring, such a gem. Thanks for joining the Den family. I feel very grateful to be a part of the family now. Oh, thank you all. This was such a total blast. And I love seeing all of your work. We'll have to come back again and finish the photo critique because there's a lot more photos in there that I'd love to critique. So amazing work, y'all. I hope y'all keep shooting, keep kicking ass, and this has been so freaking awesome.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much. So things to do. I gotta get a PO box or something so I can send you some Den coin.
Yes.
And then we're gonna have the exchange.
Send you a Nikon coin.
With the Nikon coin.
Yep.
And then the fashion book. So I will send you the stuff from Ern.
Yes.
And
Perfect.
I think that's it.
Cool.
Guys, be sure to follow Dixie on Instagram. Follow along on her journey. Check out her website. All that good stuff.
Yay.
Do you have any like workshops or educational stuff that you promote or do as well?
Yeah, I do. I did a 22-hour tutorial in Brazil with a really cool company called Pro EDU. So they've got, I've never watched it, but it was, but it's a wealth of information as far as if you're interested in like fashion and lifestyle photography. You want me to send the link in the chat?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, let's see. I've never sent something in a chat. There you go.
There it is. There's Dixie's first chat message in the Elijahsaldana Academy. Love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, at least your name wasn't taken, right?
Yes, so true. Because Dixie Dixon was taken on Instagram, so I had to do I am Dixie Dixon. I was really bummed.
Yep, it is.
All good though. Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, Dixie. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for Nikon connecting us. Hopefully this isn't the last time we can have you on stream. I look forward to the next time, and thank you for everything.
Me too. Thank you so much. You're an amazing interviewer and photographer, and this was awesome. I
appreciate that. Mahalo. I thank you for that. Yay. All right. See you later, Dixie.
Bye. You guys have a great day.
Wow. Chat, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for watching. That was such an awesome interview. Not just because she was a Nikon ambassador, but to have someone on with her type of experience and the things that she's been through and stuff. Like we always say, it's so cool to be able to see them behind the screen, see them behind, past their Instagram profile, their website, and just have them here and just be like, bro, Dixie's human, and her journey in photography is something that you can do as well, and stuff. So I'm grateful. Thank you guys for watching and hanging out. Hey, Nikon in the chat, give it up for Nikon. Hey, thank you so much for sending that awesome ambassador. It was so good having them on. And I appreciate it. Hopefully we can continue to do this. So good. Nikon, thank you everyone. What a great community. Yes, so good. I love it. Remember to tag Nikon on social media, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Love you guys. Have a good one. Aloha.